Um, as some background, and almost as a when last we left off, the Slayers take in a recent mission to remove the presence of an ancient white dragon from the world as part of a contract. Discovered the bodies of an ancient silver dragon and a half-elf paladin in the ice of the ancient dragon's lair. Oh, pardon me. Along with the not even tarnished shield belonging to said paladin, which presumably Darwin currently has slung over his back.
He does.
In communicating with the Platinum Sanctuary that they had discovered pardon me, the bodies of these long forgotten champions, and had expressed great joy that the bodies had been discovered, but also doubts as to their legitimacy. Nonetheless, having written to the Platinum Sanctuary about this issue, Lyra Cell had explained the situation and communicated with one Scalebearer Yon, a member of the Order of Bahamut. And the Platinum Knights had requested that both the body of the ancient dragon and its half-elf companion were returned to the sanctuary for identification and correct interment. And we pick up our story within the take itself, as the discussion turns to the return of these bodies to their spiritual home.
Well, Ray would have talked Anders about her contact with the Platinum Sanctuary. She would have left out the part about her father, and basically tried to plan with knowing the Paladin Bahamut how to get the bodies to the Platinum Sanctuary.
So, with some discussion, given that Anders is unavailable to play this evening, between Lyricel and Anders, who show the most significant interest in the two bodies, as Anders has identified that the ancient silver, is likely one of his draconic ancestors, and the source of his particular bloodline's draconic nature. Pardon me. Had shown a great deal of interest in the bodies, and with discussion between yourselves and your resident reality benders, had arranged for at least to have the bodies exhumed from the ice and transported at least as far as the Take's castle. So you can consider them as being inside a storage area within the castle.
Right. Guess then that she would have talked to some members of the take his bodies to the Platinum Sanctuary and looked for volunteers.
Treacle volunteer. He is always eager to get out of the house.
What can I do to help?
Of course.
Sure, dude.
Alright. Well, I guess we're going to go to Vasselheim then. So, Warp 6.
As you make your way upstairs into the tower of the giant castle where the navigation crystal is located, as you come into the tower room, where previously, when a group had arrived at the castle to assist with the clear out downstairs, they'd found the walls covered in arcane scribblings from Dominic's mind operating on overdrive. Instead, this time there are piles and piles of parchment from Nessa's latest research. And Tariq, you've previously encountered this as well. Sticking out from behind a pile of papers, possibly the same one as the last time you saw. You see Dominic's boots, and you can hear the gentle snoring.
I roll my eyes a little bit. Dominic.
Yeah. Huh?
Go over and poke him.
There's a slight scattering of parchment as he starts awake as Tariq kicks his boot.
Don't startle
yes.
him and mess up my paperwork. Quickly, mage hand.
Priorities, people.
How did all of the paperwork get on top of him?
I need some place to put it. I only have so much time for unseen servants, Tariq.
I suppose.
It may be a cloud giant's tower, but it still can be somewhat small for all the paper space I need.
Trick gives a skeptical look at that and just kind of gestures to all of the open air above them.
Yes, but Tariq, do you see above the level where we have the papers stacked? Do you see more shelving? Therein lies our problem.
Precisely.
You can make more shelving.
Dominic kind of sort of pauses mid-breath to speak as you say that. I had not considered that.
Darwin kind of casually starts looking through the papers with interest.
Takes a while to read from all the way up there, though.
Don't you have a carpet of flying?
Yes, but I would need to keep using it back and forth.
You see that just with the suggestion of making something, Dominic's imagination has kind of been caught. It's just like, I might have an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Leave that one with me. Leave that with me. I'll So,
right.
What can I help you with?
I think we were looking to get to Vasselheim. Myre said something about getting a dragon corpse there.
Oh, right.
Need to get to the Platinum Sanctuary.
Yes, what she said.
Okay.
First time in Vasselheim. This is exciting.
I do agree. Unfortunately, I won't be able to accompany you, but I look forward to your descriptions of it, my love. He kind of sort of is still blinking himself away. Wait. Okay, Vasselheim. Northwest of here, from memory. He stands up and wanders over to where the navigation crystal is, and So the others have been at, like, everybody in the take has kind of gotten a general sort of crash course on using the navigation crystal, but by this stage, Dominic is the only one who's got a really clear idea of exactly how it works. So he rests a hand on it, and the crystal starts to glow, and you can all see through the skylights of the tower room, through the transparent ceiling, as the direction of the movement of the clouds starts to shift in a as the castle changes direction, heading to the west of Taldore. You're currently sort of hanging over the far northern mountains of Taldore, fairly close to Lyringorn, in point of fact. And the castle begins to shift in direction. It's like, right, I believe it'll take us about 5 days from here, if I've estimated our position correctly, in order to get to Vasselheim. How do you intend to get down to ground level? You won't be able to teleport into the city itself.
Halo drop. It's clearly the only answer.
We could simply use the griffins.
That's not as exciting.
Don't we have to carry the dragon body down there?
Well, we'll just drop it. Preferably on the Platinum Sanctuary.
Is there somewhere outside of the...
Just like you walk up the stairs from the center of Vasselheim, you guys walk up the heavenly stairs, up the mountain to the Platinum Sanctuary, which is covered in gore from a giant dragon corpse being dropped on it from a massive height.
I'm not sure they'll appreciate us doing that.
It'll make me feel much better, though.
Dominic, would you perhaps be able to use a reduce spell on it?
Or we could try polymorph.
That as well.
Well, I suppose I could polymorph it I could attempt either.
Can one of those big hands you guys can conjure carry it?
Probably.
You mean Bigby's hand?
Oh my god, Darwin and I Sweet.
Bigby's hand!
Why are you
And with
singing
that,
it?
a shining cobalt blue arcane hand appears in the court behind Darwin. Dominic just kind of gapes at it, like, oh.
When did you learn
I see
that?
your...
That's something I picked up a couple of days ago. You're a good teacher, Nissa.
Splendid. Oh, I dropped my mouse.
So I didn't realize you'd already learnt the spell. Like, it's quite impressive, Darwin.
Thank you, Dominic. That means a lot.
Out of curiosity, Karun, did you add Bigby's hand to your spellbook as just one of the 2 spells you would have learned from leveling? Or...
No, it's a spell scroll that I'd bought way back. I'd been stockpiling levels 5 spells.
Fair enough.
I thought you got it from...
Yeah, I was going to say, we had it in the spellbook we picked up at on the Elementals hunt.
No, I picked up a couple other spells as my level up spells.
Fair enough. Interesting. Well, as for reducing the size of the body for easy transport, that's a naughty one. Let's go downstairs and have a look, and we'll see what we can do. So, with that, Dominic leads you downstairs to the one of the storage rooms on the lower levels. Normally a room kept aside for cold storage of meat Dominic has been sort of making has left instructions for at least someone to come down here every 10 days in order to cast gentle repose on the two bodies and prevent them from decaying. So let's see. Darwin, do you have polymorph? Hello.
Darwin?
Sorry, what was the question?
Do you have polymorph?
I do. I'm happy to try that.
Nessa looks a bit envious of both of them.
Dominic puts his arm around Nessa's shoulders, knowing how frustrated watching other practitioners use transmutation is.
The other option is I can conjure us a swarm of owls and just have them kick down.
That sounds amazing.
Swarm of
Male.
owls?
Owl post?
Yeah. Conjure animals, man. It has more uses than just conjure puppy pie.
Yes, but that will always be the best use for it.
Oh, absolutely. No question.
Cannot disagree with that.
Especially when you use it to disable Dominic in a one-on-one sparring match. Conjure puppy pile.
As I recall, you did just fine escaping from conjure puppy.
Nessa doesn't need puppy pile, she has paper pile for getting Dominic.
Paper puppy pile.
Now we're getting into read or die territory.
As a technical question, I'm not sure polymorph will work unless you want to allow it for flavor. Because as soon as it drops to 0 hit points, it goes back to its normal form.
I mean, can you even polymorph a corpse?
I don't think
That's-
you can.
Yeah, that would be the question.
So, that was
Transform the creature
indeed.
with at least 1 hit point.
Does it remain a
Why?
corpse if Dominic if Dominic
No, let's not resurrect the giant ancient silver dragon. Let's not do that.
That's a good idea.
I don't think the Platinum Sanctuary would appreciate that.
Why don't we just polymorph it really small and then we walk in and right in the center of the thing we just bamf it back?
Well, that's the thing.
that was
with
the point
polymorph
about whether
is-
polymorph works on that.
Oh, no, I mean reduce, sorry.
That could work. I don't know reduce.
Reduce only turns at one size, right?
Nessa
require multiple
and
rolls.
Darwin,
Yeah.
make an Arcana roll for me.
Okay.
Wow.
Oh, crap, I need to roll 20.
Yeah, starting the game off strong there, Ness.
I don't know what I
mean,
did to
it
roll
could have
20
been a
lately.
1.
You should hope it doesn't carry over till tomorrow.
Darwin, did you make one as well?
Would you allow me to guide us
Just got the
this?
character sheet up. One sec.
Say, Nick?
Reduce the target size is half in all dimensions and its weight is reduced to 1/8 of normal.
1/8 would be quite a bit smaller. Yeah, is Nick giving me guidance?
Sounds good.
I'm going to take that as a yes.
That's good guidance, yeah.
Nice.
Does guidance give you advantage?
Guidance.
No, guidance is just a D4. So,
Oh, I thought that was... Oh, then never mind. Let's see.
No, that'd be
enhance ability.
Ability to do it.
That's
I mean, between the two,
there we go.
with a 22, from your understanding of the wording of, where is it? The spell Enlarge Reduce, Darwin, you're fairly confident that that you should be able to reduce the size of the dragon corpse for easier transportation.
Hey, I'm pretty sure reduce will work.
All right.
Alright.
All right.
I can make us a swarm of giant owls if we need to carry it, if it's still too big for us to carry.
I think that'd be a good idea.
Nessa looks super excited
Right.
about giant owls. Given
Nick has been kind of in the corner thinking, and he's hesitant to do this. But he goes over to Lyra and, dude, just out of curiosity, I know we have the corpse of an ancient silver dragon. I can cast Speak with Dead.
In my opinion, the dead should stay dead.
Fair enough. I wanted to get your permission because that's something that I'm not going to mess with unless I have some sort of authority from somebody. Oh, okay, she shut.
Dominic kind of shifts uncomfortably nearby.
Nessa gives him a pat on the shoulder.
Tariq will summon a swarm of giant owls.
Yes.
So I summon 8 giant owls. I cast Conjure Animals. I conjure up 8 giant owls.
Okay, so when you say giant, are they actually giant size
They're
category?
large-sized creatures.
Okay.
Nessa just has
They're
Golwyn on her
CR1.
hat, and they're just like, why'd I do it?
They're large. They're large creatures. They have 13 strength each, and there are 8 of them. So suddenly the air is filled with the hooting of owls.
This is amazing.
Nessa is super excited. They're not as pretty as Golwyn, though.
Of course not.
They don't have galaxy eyes.
Golwyn is 1 in a million.
I mean, they are still fey. They might.
But it's celestial.
They're not celestial. You're right.
Okay, so according to my highly scientific calculation of just knowing how carrying capacity works, each giant owl has the carrying capacity of 195 pounds.
That sounds about right.
And reduces the size category of the target by 1. So an ancient silver dragon corpse has just been. Darwin, do you actually have the enlarge reduce spell?
I do not, so I'm hoping that Dominic does.
He does, yes.
Yes.
So, having had the general plan explained and the collection of owls hooting around the area, Dominic kind of sort of rubs his hands together in preparation to cast the spell on the corpse. There's a slight hiss coming from his left pocket as Fluffy Bubbles kind of nuzzles down deeper into his coat pocket. So let's see, we have 8 giant owls, each with a carrying capacity of 195 pounds.
And remember, the weight is 1/8, even though the size is reduced by only 1.
Okay, so between them, they can carry approximately 1,600 pounds. I mean, I'm not quite sure what that is off the top of my head in kilograms.
It's probably like
It's about 800. 725.
it'd be that'd be a bit.
So the
It's
question
about the size of a
is,
small car. It's about the weight of a small car.
would
Or an elephant.
the corpse, if the corpse is 6.4 tons originally, then it should be fine.
Yeah.
6 tons sounds reasonable.
Reasonable.
We may be getting into the weeds on this.
Okay, we also have 2 Big B's hands. Let's add that to the mix.
Fair enough. I mean, between the 8 giant owls and the gold and cobalt blue Big B's hands, with the reduced size, you should be able to transport it. And for the sake of brevity, we'll say between the methods available to you, you guys are able to transport the body of the ancient Silver. Sorry, I'm just quickly pulling up my notes about what his name was.
Billy.
No.
Yes.
The owls don't wait.
Billy, the legendary dragon of yore.
Pendress, the Silver Champion, was his name.
The owls actually understand common. They just can't speak anything but giant owl.
Giant owl is
That's
a
a
language.
language?
Apparently, that's what their stat block does. They speak giant owl. They understand common, elvish, and sylvan, but they can't speak.
Well, I mean, they are fey creatures when you use conjure animals. So
This is the stat block with them still.
So does that mean that speak with animal work?
theoretically, yes.
Cool.
They're yeah.
Someone's gonna
Okay,
become a Disney
I won't make you
princess!
be one of your owls.
So the owls.
Ray the Disney princess.
Yes. Fun fact, took Oath of the Ancient just so I could speak to animals.
Nice. So I turn into immigrant song.
Yeah.
Ray, roll a performance check for your Disney princess dance through the woods as the owls form up alongside you.
What woods?
I do my chores because that sounds amazing.
Oh, no.
Not great.
You do okay.
It's very average.
It's an average dance through the woods. You do.
Yeah,
The
4-year-old.
woods that aren't actually here because we're above sky and a giant castle.
All the people in the
We have a
room are
holodeck
kind of
now.
watching Lyricel. Yeah, are kind of watching Lyricel with an odd look and looking at each other like.
We do have a holodeck now. Dominic has hallucinatory terrain.
Oh, yes!
He does too.
It's gonna be great.
As she gets into the second verse of the song, Dominic catches onto what she's doing, conjures hallucinatory terrain. Suddenly there is a woods around you.
Yes.
The performance isn't like... Adults watching the performance are just kind of like, whatever. Like, 4-year-old girls with pigtails and pigtail braids are absolutely enraptured.
When
We
you
made it
cast the
Disney
spell, was
Broadway.
your verbal component bibbity bobbity boo?
Roll an Arcana check.
Now we're getting to the Platinum Sanctuary. This is what we're doing. Forever.
That's fucking right.
Oh my fucking god!
Shit.
Jesus!
Oh!
I'm pretty good at Arcana.
I'm pretty sure only Dominic and Nessa are capable of outrolling that.
No, Nessa can't. Nessa
Only
cannot.
Dominic. Nessa can outroll me on investigation, though.
Oh yeah.
Nessa's investigation is Sherlockian.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, your Arcana is better than my investigation.
Is it?
Yes, dear, I know.
Yep. Plus 13.
Yes.
Oh, because I got the luck stone.
Mhm.
Yes. That's why you outperform me at the moment. So, between your collection of owls and as the Disney performance comes to an end, Dominic dismisses the hallucinatory terrain, and now I'm just quickly double checking something, but I'm actually fairly sure that I had actually scribed up some scrolls of things, including enlarge reduce is one of the ones in my situational scroll case. So Dominic prepares to cast the spell on the corpse, but also unslinging his body bag of holding so you can slide the smaller half-elven corpse inside. Also hands Darwin a scroll of enlarge reduce, because the actual spell only lasts for a minute.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's going to be funny when that wears off.
Yeah, right in the middle of the Platinum Sanctuary. That's what we have to do. Like, just walk in and just let it wear off.
So maybe someone should go in and warn people to move out of the way before it undoes itself.
What's the fun in that?
Perhaps.
Maybe you should.
So
I
we
can
don't
dimension
piss
door.
off anybody.
I mean, look, I'm not opposed to pissing off this particular sanctuary.
I would like to know why.
There's history. It's complicated.
Nick hears desecrating or pissing people off at a temple of a good deity and instantly just kind of cringes.
Lyricel,
I
perhaps
mean,
if we are helping you with this, it may be in the best interest of everyone to know why this is complicated.
Well, my understanding is that, the man who got my mother pregnant may or may not be there.
And is the man who got your mother pregnant different from your father?
Well, I feel like father is a strong title for him, but apparently we share some relation.
Got it.
All right.
I got to reach just like, yep.
Daddy issues? Gotcha. Say no more.
Well, Nessa understands daddy
only
issues from
question is-
Dominic, but
Lyra, my only question is, do you want to kill him now, or should we do it later?
Whoa, 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 whoa.
I believe this may not be the best time, Tariq. If this is definitely complicated. I see what you meant now.
Later it
Back
is.
between
Gotcha.
the two of them.
Maybe
No
let's
stabbing.
I don't want to
Time
kill
while we
him,
see
and
him.
then she winks at him.
Tariq sees this and he winks very obviously back. Right. You don't want to kill him. In fact, you want to kill any suspicion that you want to kill him. Got it.
That's yes.
I am
And she's just
highly
winking back.
confused. Is there something in your
Dominic,
eye,
over to Nessa.
Tariq?
You're not the only one, my love. Do
I
you
am
have
glad
any
for
idea
that.
what's going on?
No.
Let's maybe not engage in combat in the sanctuary.
Well, we said we'll do it later.
Oh, that's fine.
He shrugs as if that
Yes.
answers that.
Let's pick a fight with the oldest standing army in the entire world.
Right.
In the
This is not the One Piece game. Jeez.
Like I keep saying, not now. Some other time.
Yeah.
Perhaps we can get a better sense of the situation long before that happens, but for now we should probably focus on delivering the dragon and this person. Perhaps.
I do have a question. So you've arranged to bring this formidably sized dragon corpse to the Platinum Sanctuary, as well as the half elf. Have you actually made contact with them in person to make sure they have a way to transport it within the city? Because it's my understanding that you're not going to be able to use any arcane magic within the boundaries of the city.
Ah, excellent point.
I remember that.
We may need to follow Nick's advice.
Arcane magic? So you can use
That's-
divine magic?
Well, that's my understanding.
It is
I've never been to
going
Vasselheim myself.
Yes, from what I've heard.
Yeah, it's the most religious city in the world.
Does ranger magic fall under arcane or
Natural,
I think that'd
maybe?
be nature.
okay?
It would very much depend upon. You know what, Tariq? Roll an Arcana check. No, actually, we'll call it a history check.
Oh, well,
Thank
equally
God
as
for
bad
that.
at both. Apparently I'm better at his.
Apparently so. Although your modifier is exactly the same.
I know.
You're not very much of a one for having read a lot of written history, but even you, Tariq, have reasonably familiar with some of the stories about Vasselheim being the cradle of faith within Exandria, and often referred to as the Dawn City, and that because of all the catastrophes that it's weathered throughout the centuries, the people there are pious and hard-wearing and very trusting in the gods, but also due to the catastrophes of the Age of Arcanum, are extremely distrusting of magic that affects the natural order of things. You get the hunch that ranger magic, being sort of natural by its nature and sort of more in line with druidic practices, rather than the kind of reality warping that Dominic and Nessa are both very familiar with, would probably be all right.
Cool. All right, so I don't have to worry about the owls just suddenly fading out of existence. That would be bad.
Tough. Perhaps the situation would be to go down there first and speak with them, unless you have sent a message already, Laracel.
Sending a message kind of slipped to my mind.
Then I suppose we have our first step.
Hey, Will.
All right. I think
Yes.
Tariq should do the talking.
Yeah.
Question: Would Darvin know that the shield is a vestige?
You're not strictly aware.
Okay.
You know that it has a magical nature, and that it seems to have some sort of either a link to some sentience or some inbuilt sentience of its own, but that sentience is currently slumbering, and therefore it has some additional development to go to. Other than that, you're not absolutely certain. Although, given your Vox Machina fanboydom, You are so hoping. You're just like, oh, I get to be one of them. I get to carry one. I get to be one of them.
Yes.
Fair enough.
All right, so the group of you going to head down before taking the bodies?
Actually, when since we had a good relationship with the temple in Western, would they be able to send a message to Vasselheim if Larry didn't want to do
That's actually
it?
a good idea. Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Yes, yeah, would be far less riven with crossed out expletives.
Oh.
Crossed out. Jeez, you're giving her way more credit than she deserves.
I don't know. I heard something about Tariq reading the message.
Yeah, I was wondering about that too.
After the revelation.
I mean,
Which temple in Westrun were you planning to contact?
The Platinum Sanctuary in Western was a friend of ours, at least in old games.
In ancient times.
Yes, in the ancient times.
Yeah, Ray went there. Yeah, Ray went there a few times.
Legends.
So,
In the days of yore.
That was I think my very first hunt was taking a deathlock out of that place.
Ah. Okay, just. I mean, you could definitely just checking things. Just bear with me while I quickly read up in my Tal'Dorei guide.
So D&D Beyond.
Yep. And there is a smaller sanctuary to the Platinum Dragon within Westrun. Which of you is proficient in religion?
Praise, expertise.
a little bit.
If Ray doesn't want to,
I know a few
if Ray
things.
doesn't want to do it, Tariq is actually proficient in religion.
Nick is too.
I will. She'll do it.
All right.
A religion check, I assume.
Yes.
Oof, not a great
Alright.
roll.
Could have been a lot worse.
True, but an 8 on the die is not great.
So you managed to make contact with the Platinum Temple within Westrun, explaining the situation, and we'll say that during the discussion, Lyricel felt herself very brave not to have broken down in tears of rage at her father while discussing the situation, and was able to arrange for someone to meet you at Vasselheim's city gates when you arrived.
So,
Wonderful.
reduce and halo drop?
What was this Halo drop?
It's just Halo drop with the track.
So, did you hear about what happened the first time that Nailsu and I came to this castle?
Ah, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. We're gonna do that.
No,
Yes,
Huh.
let's do it. Don't worry, Nick, it'll be fine.
I don't even know what you're going to try to do.
Trust us, wink.
Does everyone
I
have
honestly
something
have
in
no
their
idea.
eye?
Nailsu was thrown off the castle and Darvin jumped off after to catch him.
Let's not do that.
Let's do
we're
this.
gonna do that.
We're gonna do it. It'll be fun.
Does
They're going
anybody
to do
have
it. You're not going to hit the ground
Yes.
Yeah,
with
Darwin
utmost
does.
speed, Nick.
All right.
Nick is
Because
not jumping off the
someone
castle.
has feather fall.
All right. Well, we'll see you later.
Yeah. Well, you can take one of the griffins down, I suppose.
Nick will take one of the griffins down. Because y'all are crazy.
Nick, I also have a carpet of flying.
Okay, bye!
So,
Or not. All right. And just turns to
So,
go back and
as
goes,
you
what
guys-
is with him?
as you guys discuss this, and Nick decides to go and fetch one of the griffins, Dominic says, "All right, so reduce the corpse then, and you're going to take it with you now."
Yeah,
What's
that
up
seems to be the
to
case.
everybody else?
Thank you, Dominic.
Great call to the owls. Get ready.
And I believe you guys will going to use your arcane hands to assist with the transport?
That is true. So, yep. Nessa conjures Bigby's hand.
Okay. So,
I did not know you were a bard, Darvin.
Well, Scanlan is one of my heroes.
So I have heard.
Dominic kind of arches a brow back over his shoulder at Darvin. Right. And he reduces the size of the corpse, allowing you guys to lift it from underneath with the two Bigby's hands, and the 8 owls all grab purchase on the thick, scaly hide of the ancient silver dragon. The half-elf paladin's body, still in its armor, is slipped into Dominic's body bag of holding, which he then loops over Nessa's shoulder before giving her a kiss and heading back upstairs.
I'm assuming we did all this at the rampart, so we can just jump straight on.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I mean, it won't take you very long to get out of the building. You could get out of the building carrying it in a minute, no problem. And once you've got it in the open air, moving it becomes a lot easier because you just have to drop it.
Yeah, but I don't want to splat it.
I mean, Ray kind of does. Just a little bit. Like, not the whole thing, just, like, one side.
Brent thinks this is a horrible idea.
You know, I just
Right.
realized
Let's
the
do this.
original take is in Vasselheim. I wonder if we may be able to stop by when we are returning.
Yeah, that would
we
be a
can
great
do that.
idea.
Alright, let's go. Ray jumps off the edge.
Darby
Very
fall.
fast.
Just Bigby's hand, Bigby's hand, grab the thing, and jump.
Drake follows
Wait for me!
behind his owls. As they're
and
falling
I'll
and
just-
he's falling amongst his owls, he shouts, "Hoot, hoot, motherfucker!"
And I'll just say that Darvin's going to basically cannonball, but he's going to keep an eye on the distance to the ground and cast Featherfall.
Nessa has
Yeah, I was
both
about-
hands on her hat, keeping it on her head.
So, Nessa, as you're falling, it's like I'm just getting the mental image of a particular description out of one of the Discworld novels of Granny Weatherwax being dropped off a broomstick, where she's got one hand planted on her head to hold her hat on, and the other hand stopping the world from seeing up her skirts. That's kind of the visual I get as Nessa plummets.
It's a bit, what's it called? Shit. Magic Users Club.
A little bit.
Old school.
As a point of interest, is Darth the only one with Featherfall? Because Nessa, it's transmutation magic.
Yes, it is. But there's only 6... How many?
Featherfall covers like 8 people.
8 people, so enough.
Okay. And,
Or I can cast it multiple times, whatever it takes.
Yeah.
That's gonna also
So-
cast Misty Step in the last 30 feet.
Or Thunderstep, or whatever.
That too.
I'm just flying.
You're missing
So
out.
as the group of you are plummeting towards the earth, Nick, from your mount as you keep pace with the group, you're seeing them all. They're just kind of floating on the air. They're still falling at a fairly significant rate.
That's just
Come on,
waves
Nick,
at
it's
him.
not too late. Jump off the griffin. Join us.
No.
I did say you could use my carpet.
I'm fine.
Next time.
This just shrugs the others.
No.
As you guys descend through the clouds, the ground comes into view. You see the harsh, mountainous and wild territory of Issyria first come into view at great distance, and it's a breathtaking view at this height. And several minutes pass, and you slowly, and it comes more into focus as the area sort of starts to clarify, and you can see the sprawl of the Dawn City, and you can see the mountain in the center, the Holy Mountain, where the Platinum Sanctuary is specifically located, and you can see the sprawl of the Silver Talon district, and then the Quad Roads and the Braving Grounds all comes into focus. Have any of you been to Vasselheim previously?
Yes.
I think I have.
Nick would have when he visited Pike.
So,
Definitely hasn't.
so those of you who've been here before, you guys just kind of recognize the general layout. Although seeing it from this particular vantage is a new experience. But as you continue to descend, other features come into focus as the perspective trick of the eye is something so big but so far away gets closer, and your eyes readjust to the perspective, and you start seeing the little tiny movements of ant-like people as they go about their business. And then they slowly come into focus. And it's odd that you can see. You see this have this strange moment. I'll just get everybody quickly to roll perception for me, as you guys sort of getting to the point where you can clearly see the buildings with detail. Nessa, you're just fascinated by the movements of the clouds as the wisps of cloud as they rush
The
past
giant
you.
owls.
Yeah. Giant fey owls is like all of the owls have got like really pointy side feathers on the sides of their head,
Nice.
like almost like fey ears.
Sweet.
So it's an interesting little quirk.
A little bit of home.
And as the group of you plummet, the rest of you get this weird moment when you're able to see, like, the perspective is kind of righted itself, and you can see with weird clarity the dragon head ballista that are located on the ramparts of the city walls, with various bastions. And in point of fact, you actually notice that several of them are tracking you. As you are a group of people plummeting from the sky at a strangely safe pace with a dragon, or what appears to be a...
Yep. Ray gives him the thumbs up.
So as you guys come to rest, you're hailed by one of the bastions on the the walls. It's like, "Hold there! Strange company.
Hello? What's so
Brings you to
strange about that?
Vasselheim. Not every day we see a group of what appear to be mercenaries plummet from the sky, survive in the company of what appears to be a dragon."
Yes, we are from the other Slayer's take.
The other Slayers take.
Yes, the
The one that
Tal'Dorei.
originated in Weston.
I see. And what business do you have in Vasselheim?
We have an important delivery for the Platinum Sanctuary.
We should be meeting someone from there.
Well, I've not been specifically tasked with anything. He kind of looks at the other bastions. He's like, they've kind of, I'll quickly say, Nessa and Tariq. Roll, was it Nessa and Tariq or Nessa and Darwin who were sort of offering the explanation?
I think it was Ness and Darvin.
Darwin.
Okay, so Nessa and Darwin, roll persuasion checks for me, please.
Darwin is not good at this.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't a natural one, to be fair.
Oh, I'm so happy.
Oh, boy.
They are not convinced at all. They are like most of the
Even with,
bastions
like,
on the
the
ballista.
Slayer's take symbol, have they not seen that?
Have you got them all immediate?
Ray's going to step forward and she's going to say, Maximus Dragonclaw should be expecting us.
Hmm?
Lord Dragonclaw
Yes.
of the Platinum Order.
Yeah,
That's
tall,
quite a name.
blonde, kind of an asshole.
Ah. Oh, it is like that. Alright.
All right. Well, far be it from Vasselheim to turn away associates of the Platinum Order, but I'll have to ask you to wait here. We'll send a message into the city to have someone at this. Like he goes to sort of summon somebody to send a message, and then from your perspective, he just disappears from view, and there's a crashing of metal as his back armor hits the deck, and then a small or smaller form kind of sort of steps up to the ramparts and peers over. So all you can really make out is a shock of thick, long red hair, and the hilt of a large sword protruding over one shoulder before the figure disappears. And then from the gatehouse, slightly further along the ramparts, you can hear some bickering and the sounds of what sounds like a small fight. And then the gates the two sort of gigantic gates, which, looking at them, are quite easily large enough to admit something the size of a gargantuan dragon, start to rumble open. And standing in the gap as it opens wide enough is the heavily armored form of a female halfling in
Lady
gleaming.
Kima, you might recognize me.
That is Kima.
You have. Yes, Lady Kima of Vord, the scale bearers asked
We
me
met
to
in the
come
restaurant?
down and meet you.
We have a dragon to deliver, as well as a former member of your order.
The former member is the specific one. I was I'm interested, but we were told about the dragon. How did you get it here?
We have a giant flying castle.
Yeah,
Indeed.
let's say that.
We're in the
Well,
skies over Vasselheim, sorry.
she kind of sort of unconsciously glances up towards the sky, like, well, fair enough. And it's like, at this point, she's walked up close enough to you, and she kind of sort of lifts up a hand and pats you in the small of the back, Darwin, as she walks past. It's like, yes, Darwin, I remember you.
Darwin grins and blushes a little bit.
Ray raises an eyebrow.
Nessa just noticed that and smiles to herself.
So, I mean, magical flying castles, not the most insane thing I've ever heard of. Ali has told me some quite fantastic stories over the years. Well, shifting a gargantuan dragon is not going to be an easily accomplished task.
My teacher Nessa and I can be of assistance if we can be allowed to use a bit of arcane magic.
I definitely wouldn't advise that.
Understood.
Yes, not everyone will understand.
Yes, no, it's but I'm only seeing the dragon body. You said
I have it. And she gestures to the bag over her shoulder.
We're about to make a great impression.
If the Order can't help us, I can conjure some more animals and move the dragon around as necessary.
No. Like, moving the dragon body should be quite achievable. I mean, we can. There are any number of very strong mine workers within the city we can request assistance from. No shortage of engineering types to fashion a method of transporting it up to the sanctuary. If this is indeed, though, who the letter we received claimed it was, is one of you Lyressel?
That would be me.
Lady Lyressel. Lady Kima Vord, if I may formally introduce myself. Paladin of Bahamut.
It's lovely to meet you, Lady Kima.
She bows her head.
She's got like
and-
this sort of tense, like she's friendly, but she's tense about it.
No, Kima kind of sort of... Kima eyes you up for a minute, Lyressel. She kind of sort of... Not in like a sizing you up way, but she's just... There's something familiar about you.
God, I hope.
Sure.
I was just curiously looking
Definitely
between the two.
Just chuckles a little bit.
She kind of turns and half turns back to the wall. Like, oi! Head into the braving grounds and see if you can find some people to help us move this dragon body. We'll take it up to the sanctuary.
She's going to call out to Kima quietly and just say, so, I understand Maximus is at the Platinum Sanctuary, or he was last time I made contact. I don't suppose his son is there as well.
Luvon.
Yes.
I've not seen him there for a while. He has been in and out, but he's often traveling on various charges from our lord. He's quite well respected.
So he's alive.
Last I saw, he was. I mean, we live in a dangerous world, but yes, Luvon Dragonclaw is still in service, and last I saw him, which now that I think about it, was about 2 weeks ago. I've been traveling myself. I split my time between here in Vasselheim and at the sanctuary in Westrun, and as well as periodically in Amon, whenever Ali's responsibilities to the council and to the Taldore Council require her to be at the Lyceum.
Well, I knew him many years ago, and unfortunately I had much luck. I knew how I might be able to.
How you might be able to what?
Contact him, sorry. Direct.
Oh, I'm not sure about contacting him directly. Surely there are some. If you've met him before, there are some magical means.
Yes, you're right, of course.
So by this stage, sort of a work team have come out, and a couple of gruff older engineering types have all come out and sort of stood there stroking their moustaches in thought for a while they figured out a means to transport the gargantuan body of the dragon, which, as you guys see it in natural light, like those of you from the take are very familiar with Anders as a silver dragonborn, having a certain sheen to his scales, but compared to the ancient dragon, Anders' scales, by comparison, are matte. In the natural sunlight, the scales of this ancient silver dragon are almost mirrored in their reflectiveness. Like, even in death, this creature is awe-inspiring. But you also notice marks all over its body, various markings of devotion to Bahamut, and various sort of memorialized tattoos here and there. So as the work gangs sort of turn up and start arranging to have tree trunks laid underneath the body of the dragon as kind of a makeshift conveyor system, they hitch up some orcs and sort of start making the progress of transporting it through the city. Kima sort of looks around at you, is like, well, come on then come with me. I suppose we'll head to the sanctuary and we'll see what's what. This way. And she kind of turns and sort of starts making her way into the city.
Follow her.
Drake will
Yep.
follow. He has not dismissed the owls yet, though. They're still flitting about and watching.
That's at least dismissed Bigby's hand because
As will
he
go.
knows better.
Fair enough. As you enter the first district of Vasselheim, it also has not escaped any of your attention that so the primary gates are on the south side of the city, whereas the city itself has sort of multiple gates in the walls. You guys have arrived at the southern gates, And off to the west of the city itself, sorry, not the west, the east of the city itself, is the humongous still form of the primordial Earth Titan that was raised during Vecna's ascendance 25 years ago, when the city of Thar Amphala was located upon top of it. But on Vox Machina's defeat of Vecna, the Titan had returned to its inert form.
Hey, a Titan. Remember when we thought we were going to fight Titans?
Oh yeah. I wonder what happened to that.
Those were
I
the
don't know. It was very unclear. What's important though is that we'll never have to fight them.
For
Yeah,
reasons.
that's somewhat of
But
a
I'm going to
relief.
take notes anyway.
Oh, I still have almost a full journal full of notes. But it's okay, because we'll never need to use them.
So, the group of you enter the city in the Quad Roads district. As you guys travel through it, it's around mid-morning. There's plenty of life in the city. Kima occasionally stops and speaks with the local bastions, sort of letting them know about the incoming gargantuan dragon corpse that is about to be dragged through the city. Primarily so that they can arrange to have the streets cleared enough to allow access. But sort of in a stilting manner, you guys sort of make your way first through the quad roads, and you then pass the braving grounds. You can see sort of off to the west of your position as you pass by the braving grounds district. You can't see the tavern, the Bellows Rest Tavern, and the arena attached to it, but you can hear the cheers as presumably somebody is like at least two people are beating the ever-loving shit out of each other for the entertainment of the crowd. Is there anything as
This
you
is
guys?
surprisingly barbaric for a holy city.
Yeah, could you love that ring when we visited?
Well, I mean, and Kima kind of sort of half turns and sort of speaks over her shoulder at you. The Braving Grounds district is a very heavily focused on the strength of cord.
Of course.
It's definitely an area where physical prowess and the strength of warriors is prized.
What time of the year is it? Is it
It's
anywhere
not-
close to the Day of Challenge?
When is
Someday
the
we'll
actual
actually
time?
remember.
Of
Yeah,
challenge?
someday we'll actually figure out what time of year it is at any given moment.
Yeah, it doesn't help the situation that there's the three of us over here in Australia where it's nearly midwinter,
Yeah.
and you guys are over in the States where it's nearly midsummer.
Mm-hmm. Summer.
So so for the time being, we'll say no. It's not the time of challenging.
Okay.
It's probably just a couple of people testing themselves against each other, and crowds taking advantage of it to gamble on it.
Enjoying whacking themselves off?
Multiple entendre.
I mean, how do you not enjoy that?
Well, I mean, there's chafing and everything, you know.
A lot of
The sand's
sweating
rough
and
on the skin.
cooking.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, that time of the
so,
night.
yep. Is there anything else you guys want to do as you pass through the city?
Uh,
I think we'll wait until we're done.
Yeah, saving any lookout for the might look out for the take here, but otherwise just mostly making note of where it is. But
I wouldn't mind
Um,
stopping by the Crucible and seeing if Grog or Pike are defending their title.
Okay, make investigation checks, both of you.
yes, that's more like it.
That dog will hunt.
Not bad.
This says take Dar.
Darwin, you kind of you're not seeing any kind of sign of like any kind of fanfare regarding sort of challenges in the braving grounds as you guys pass through the outskirts. You sort of touch Kima's shoulder as you walk, and she comments, "Is like, no, I'm not aware of Grog being in town at the moment. I believe Lady Pike is around here somewhere, but she spends most of her time at the Temple of Serenray. Right, but no, I'm not aware that they've been defending their titles lately. No one's really come along in recent years that's been able to keep track with them.
Well, I know of a couple who might want to give it a go.
Given the kind of rabble the Slayers take tends to attract, I don't doubt it. Nessa, in terms of finding the take, it almost as if you were instinctively guided towards it. You kind of just say, I wonder where the take is. As you finish the sentence, your nose is already pointing directly at the building.
Well, now we know where to go when we are done with this. And she'll point it out to everybody else. The original.
Huh.
Nice.
That's where it all started.
Have any of you got your take symbols openly visible?
No.
Depending on what
Nah.
time of year it is, Nessa might, just because she probably
Nick?
has an outfit with sleeveless.
Nick definitely would, because outside of battle, he does not like to wear many clothes.
Fair enough.
At all?
Like,
At all?
Commando.
I mean, no judgment.
He's like,
I admire your
Commando as
bravery.
well.
he's got shorts on and a Hawaiian style shirt with the sleeves cut off.
Okay.
Because sleeves are bullshit?
Sleeves are bullshit.
Sleeves
Especially
are
in the
bullshit.
summer.
Okay, so as you guys pass by the take building, a few members are kind of lounging around on the wooden front deck. A couple of them just leaning against the walls, and as you pass by, sort of, one of them sort of nudges the one next to him and sort of indicates your group. And they all wave as they see your take symbols. It's like, hello, brothers.
Nessa will look over, grin, and wave.
Darwin will wave as well.
Hey, dudes! Oh, wait, you don't understand that.
Yeah, they're all kind of looking at you like a bit odd. It's just like, whatever.
We're in the
And
middle
one
of
them calls
something,
out,
but
like,
we
"Hey,
would love to visit afterwards."
I need to make
Sure
cards.
Taldore, right?"
Correct.
Indeed.
Swing by when you're done. We'll swap some stories.
Absolutely.
One of them
I
sort
can
of
do that.
one of them ducks inside, and
This is gonna take
your
so many
assumption would be
notes.
your assumption is that one of them just stepped inside to let Vanessa know that take members are in town.
Oh, Merton's close by. Hey, they get to visit. That's awesome.
That's true, actually. Merton is close by. He's going to be upstairs in the castle.
Yeah, Merton, the castle.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So as the party is traveling through the dawn city of Vasselheim, with the gargantuan dragon corpse being manhandled along sort of behind them very slowly. The camera will sort of briefly sort of pan up from a bird's eye shot and sort of race up through the clouds, and where Dominic is speaking to Merton, he's just like, I'll be a little while I go down and see my wife."
Yay.
And Dominic's just like,
Booty call.
"Yes, sir. I'm still not sure why you brought me down here, sir, but I suppose if anybody needs you, I know where to find you." Merton just kind of sort of fixes him with a real steely glare. He's like, "Yes, you will know where to find me."
Have fun, Merton.
Use protection.
Make good choices. Protect your head.
I mean, she does have horns. He will need to protect his head.
Merton finishes saddling up one of the griffins and takes off from the docks area of the castle to fly down and go and spend some time with his wife.
Aw.
Yay.
So the camera sort of bungees back down through the clouds, bird's eye view, comes back as you guys are entering the temple district of Vasselheim.
This is much, much bigger than Western.
Yes, it is, quite significantly so. So you guys have passed through the Braving Grounds district and into the Silver Talons Reach, where the bastions of the area are sort of notably more ornately armored than the bastions, particularly of the Braving Grounds, where their apparel is very, very much sort of focused on the red and gold style of the robes of cord. The bastions within the Silver Talons Reach are much more ornate and wearing full plate. So kind of hard for them to be quiet, as they tend to make noise regardless of where they walk. But they are keeping through, and Kima sort of keeps up a bit of a sort of steady commentary as they pass through, particularly as you pass into the Silver Talons Reach and into area that she is significantly more familiar with. It's like, yeah, so down that end of the Reach is where some of the newer lodgings have been getting built for the initiates of the order as they have progressed. We've had quite a bit of assistance from the mining community in establishing all that. Scalebearer Yon asked me to assist with the guarding of that, but my God, was that a boring assignment. And you guys arrive at the foot of the Heaven Stair, and Kima doesn't even hesitate as she starts up the steps, but as the rest of you follow, make a straight Constitution saving throw for me.
Here. Huh.
Ooh.
So, Nick, of the group, you kind of sort of start powering ahead of everybody, keeping up with Kima, who's so comfortable with the stairwell, with the stairs that like it doesn't even register for her anymore, and she powers up, and you keep pace with her fairly comfortably. So, Lyrosol, as the party ascends the heaven's stair, which for you it's been some time since you ascended this particular stairwell, and as the building, the grand stone fortress of the Platinum Sanctuary comes into view through the mist at the top of the mountain, you're filled with a sense of nostalgia for your childhood when you were first brought here by Maximus as a very young child to be first sort of presented to the order as his daughter, as his children, but also with a sense of trepidation and bitterness at the way things turned out in your history.
She's just muttering to herself about, the stupid stairs and how they're still stupid, and she thinks they're stupid. This place is stupid, and this is bullshit.
It's a bittersweet sanctuary. This place. There's a lot
I
of
feel
stairs
like
that
there's
keeps
a
going.
I reference I'm not getting here.
What? Oh yeah, I forgot you're young.
As you guys are ascending the stairs, 5 men in leather jackets kind of sort of push past you on their way back down.
Your whippersnapper for the verb.
Yeah. It has occurred to me that that Flint and I are possibly the only two in the group who get that joke. But anyway.
Because you're old people.
Yep.
It's okay, the 50s were simpler.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's true, but it hurts. It still hurts.
Off to the side as you guys approach the sanctuary, just in the middle of the air, Dominic's silver Bigby's hand just appears and flips you off.
That's fair. I will gladly take 1d1 minus 1 smiting damage for that.
So, Kima... Yeah, did you actually hear that they finally got paid for it?
Finally! Good. Sorry.
Yeah. Anyway, as you guys approach the doors, the large stone doors, sort of interspersed with sort of white marbling, and there's a very very faint, worn away symbol of Bahamut, of the large dragon's head, enclosed with within a kite shield. Kima sort of nods at the guards and says, "Open up." So, as the guards kind of begrudgingly move off to open the gates, you have a moment. What would you like to do?
Take deep breaths after going up the stairs. I very much miss my carpet.
Ray is just trying to look very nonchalant and probably failing. And her non-sword hand is gripped on the hilt of her sword tight enough that her knuckles are white, but otherwise she looks fairly composed.
Treek's still just making sure that his hood is up and his tattoos are covered as best as he can.
All right.
If there's anything to take notes on, I take notes on that once I'm done being exhausted.
Sure. Make a perception check. $15. The striate, it's very fascinating for you, the scale that the sanctuary is built to. In the Temple to Bahamut in Westrun, you're familiar with it being sort of more humanoid scale. It's while it had a certain significance in its size to convey that sense of awe, as many temples tend to have. This is on a completely different scale, and as you sort of make sketches of the size of the doors, the thickness of the stones and the walls, with the spires ascending from it beyond the wall, you wonder how much of this is simple grandstanding for the purposes of instilling that sense of awe in people beholding it, or whether there was a certain actual practicality in the sanctuary being built this way to accommodate draconic people.
Fascinating. Right.
So as the doors are swung open, and when they rumble open, is slow and grinding as they sort of slowly separate inwards. Nessa, you also notice that written vertically along in sections of the wall are lines of draconic, reading things, terms like honor, justice, duty, strength, brotherhood, platitudes to that effect.
Of course.
Set sort of a regular distance apart along the walls of the building.
Mm-hmm. It's fairly similar. They have similar setup in Western, except not to scale. But
and as the doors swing open, a humanoid figure is standing dead center of the hallway beyond, with his arms crossed behind his back, wearing a breastplate over silver cloth. What's done?
Tabard.
Thank you. Just losing all control of my language there for a moment. A fairly tall humanoid with blonde hair and a sort of stern expression.
Fuck that guy in particular. I mean, continue.
okay. Tell us how you really feel.
Right? So, as the gates swing open. Kima notices him and says, "Ah." And she turns to Lyricel and says, "Lord Maximus, I will, I think I'll leave you here with him." And she, for the first time, Kima has a general forthrightness in her approach. A very much in your face, what are you going to do about it way of doing things. For the first time, you see that she kind of very much wants to avoid Maximus, and not quite scurries, but she definitely doesn't chest to chest with him, and she doesn't linger, and she sort of heads inside the sanctuary, leaving you in the company. Leaving you in the company of a man who, Lyricel, you immediately recognize. The years have aged him somewhat since you last saw him, and his blonde hair is now streaked with silver. But the stern expression of vague dissatisfaction is as familiar as ever as you regard Maximus Dragonclaw, your father.
Darvin will lean over and say, "What's wrong with this guy?"
I see you still
Who's
have
this
your
guy?
way with people.
This looks confused.
A certain amount of political capability is required when dealing within the sanctuary, child. I don't need Kima
this is him.
I have not been a child for many years, but I don't suppose you would know anything about that.
Nessa would like to feel uncomfortable as a action.
The free action.
Shriek takes his hood off and openly stares with a little bit of hostility at him.
I see you've somewhat fallen, if that's possible, in terms of the company you keep these days.
Nessa would like to feel anger as your next action.
Ray is visibly shaking, but she's got her jaw stuck out stubbornly. She's
That
just
was
going
certainly
to
a
say,
Question. What race does he look like he is?
He is humanoid. Almost human, but not quite in his appearance. But he doesn't have any of the Fey traits you've come to associate with races like the half-elves. And while you can see a certain similarity between Lyricel and Maximus, who you have now gathered is her father, the physical resemblance is fleeting at best.
Right. I'm going to look at him and say, "Hey, elf, fuck off."
First of all, child, I am anything but an elf.
You know what I said.
Did we not say we're going to do this later? How I know, but quietly to Tariq.
I mean, later, now. I mean, now is technically later from when we said it.
I was afraid you were going to say that.
Anyway.
He kind of sort of turns his gaze back to Lyricel, and to a certain extent has at least a certain amount, at least isn't looking at you, Nessa, with contempt, because you've at least demonstrated a certain amount of politic in the situation.
Restrained slightly.
Yeah.
Also because she can't use magic in this place.
I mean, I mean, by comparison, I think everybody here is restrained. They haven't intentionally called him the wrong race and told him to fuck off.
Well, charming company you keep.
You know what? It's a mite better than the company I had when I was a child.
Mhm.
But that's beside the point.
Yes, perhaps we should just do what we're going to do here and then leave.
Yes, I brought you the artifacts that you so daringly said that we wouldn't have been able to find. So, here you are. Here's your giant dragon and your half-elf paladin. And,
And
I
where
hope you
is
have
this?
a really shit life.
Where exactly is this dragon and paladin you speak of?
The dragon
That's
is
a good
currently being
question,
brought
Dean.
in. The paladin is Nessa will move over to probably the center of the room away from people. Gently take off the body bag over her shoulder, lay it down, and slowly pull it back.
Just upend the bag and just the body just.
No. She sets it down gently on the floor and basically gives it the most respect she can, gently pulling the bag down to reveal
Darwin will help her
the
pull out the body
gender-posed.
respect.
Yeah.
Treacle
Yes,
helps
well.
also if it's needed.
If I'd had my voice properly listened to, this would have been nothing but a waste of our time. But the scale bearer has agreed to see you in this circumstance. Your apparent affiliation with the Slayers take and the barbarians who work there. Obviously,
Seems like we did
Nessa's
something you weren't.
eyebrow twitches.
Well, it seems like the scale bearer is a wiser man than you. Not that the bar is very high.
quite.
Cue that meme.
Oh.
How about to end this man's whole career?
He doesn't really rise to the bait. Lyra, what you remember of your experience with him was that even to both of you, when it was you discovered that, or he declared that your brother Luvon was chosen and had to be brought to the sanctuary in order to begin his training and his life of duty as a paladin of Bahamut. Never really one of expressing strong emotion, and even as you sort of got older and started learning how to needle him, it's just never really reacted. And he continues to not now. He just kind of turns his back and walks towards the main sanctuary. Bring the body. Let's get this waste of our time over with.
Mother's fine, by the way, if you care.
No response. Actually, roll an insight check.
Oh, this is her best one. Actually, it's not too bad. No, she's too angry.
As you sort of call this out, there's no sort of visible response from him. He doesn't even glance back as he walks towards the main sanctuary.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
As
pull the
you-
bag back up and take the body.
as the group of you enter the main hall of the Platinum Sanctuary, The floor is polished marble that is almost reflective. You can very nearly see your reflection in it. But near the center of the room, with pillars all the way around the main hall, there's light shining down from the ceiling, and you can see as it sort of hits the floor, it's due to some quirk of or feature of the design of the building, the light being shone through skylights shines onto the ground in the symbol of Bahamut. And at the center of the hall stands two men. One an older. Let me just quickly pull up the characters. And a very old elf with silver hair. A slender elven male in the white robes. Sorry, not silver. White hair. Is in discussion with another to his right. You gather the elf is the one you would know of as High Bearer Vord. And everyone roll perception checks for me as you enter the temple.
Of course. Now.
Nessa, your nose is buried in your notebook as you scratch out note after note. Lyricel, along with the figure of your father walking ahead of the group, leading you to to be presented to the High Bearer, well, who you assume to be the High Bearer and the Scale Bearer. Out of the corner of your eye, you catch a movement behind some of the pillars, where there's some stairs curving around, like following the curve of the room up to a mezzanine level, which from your memory of being here as a child, you vaguely remember leads off to the accommodation areas, to the barracks and the common rooms. You catch sight of a figure sort of lingering behind the columns. Darwin and Nick, you also, after a moment, catch sight of the figure as it continues to keep pace with you as you guys approach. And it's interesting. It appears to be a half-elf, and you believe you may have just figured out why Lyricel looks so familiar to Kima, as what glances you get of this figure ducking behind, like sticking to the space behind the columns, bears a striking resemblance to your companion. At length, you are brought up to the before the two figures in the center of the room, and the elven man sort of turns from his discussion with the older human next to him, nods at Maximus, gestures for him to step to the side. Welcome, Slayers of the Take. I am High Bearer Vord. This is Scale Bearer Yon, and we were greatly interested to receive your letter. And he glances along the line, and Lyricel, as he meets your eye, he stares at you a moment, and recognition sort of appears on his face. Lyricel. It's been some
Yes.
time since you were last brought here. I do not believe I've seen you here since you were a child.
No,
It's good to see that you're well. And while you may not have taken oaths in the Order of Bahamut, it is gratifying that you took oaths of a fashion and chose to follow a path of duty. And he bows respectfully towards you.
She returns the bow and is quietly thinking to herself, if only he knew that I chose the Moonweaver specifically to annoy my father.
So, we were very enthused to receive your letter that you had apparently discovered the bodies of two of our most ancient and revered champions.
Yes, they came up on another contract that we had to kill an ancient white dragon who goes by the name, or went by the name, I should say, of Glaceclaw.
Yes, your letter identified the dragon as the source of winter.
Yes, that's what we
Do you-
were led to believe.
And you truly believe that this is the first white chromatic dragon from before the calamity, one of the primordial dragons.
I don't pretend to be an expert in dragonology, but that was certainly what the locals...
Am I an expert in dragonology?
Roll a nature check.
Not bad. Yeah! Yes!
Nessa, you're reasonably comfortable with dragonology in general, to the point where, from the descriptions you were provided, you feel pretty comfortable with your assessment that this was likely, if not the first, then it was definitely one of the first, given its age, its power, and its ferocity.
Yeah. Nessa's going to give that information politely in her first language, Elvish, because she just kind of slipped to that automatically.
And as you do, Vord instinctively responds in Elvish, and with sort of a look of slight bemusement at this, from his perspective, quite young human woman speaking Elvish as naturally as he does. Like, then, if this Glaceclaw, as you have found, as you discovered her name to be, was truly the first of the whites, then your claim that you have discovered the bodies of Pendras and Fultabar definitely has merit. And at this point, Maximus chimes in and says, believe. There's no proof that this dragon they claim to have slain had anything like the age required for it to have been the first. The first is nothing but a legend.
I unsling the shield from my back and hold it up. We found this with them. Does that help?
Roll a persuasion check, Darby.
Oh, shit.
With advantage.
Oh.
Oh, oh.
May I guidance him?
Can you get a guidance in?
Well, we've already got the results.
Fair.
So, as you unsling the shield off your back, Vord draws an involuntary breath at it. Is that what I think it is?
It depends on what you think it is, I suppose.
Over the centuries, there have been many paladins of Bahamut who have carried shields with the design of our Lord upon it, but there was only one shield that was ever carried within our order. And he kind of steps forward. He's lost for words at the sight of the shield you're holding, and for a moment you feel Darwin like having unslung and holding the shield in your grip in the heart of the sanctuary of its patron. You can feel a slight vibration through the metal.
Well, that's interesting. He hasn't done that before.
And it feels slightly warmer to the touch than it did when you first set out. And Vord steps forward and runs his hand along the edge of the shield, sort of gently kind of examining it, his fingers tracing the filigree around the edge. Oh my word.
It's warmer and vibrating. Hasn't done that since I first got it.
And did you find this with the body? Where is the body?
I
It is
point
with
over in the corner.
in Elvish.
We couldn't have found a more awkward way to carry a body around.
Honestly, no. Well, where should we place it? And she continues just speaking in Elvish to him.
We will have a transport brought. He kind of turns to Scalebearer Yon, says, "Have some Scalebearers come. Bring a litter to transport the body. Even if it is not Fultavar, then at the very least it is paladin of our order, and he should be laid to rest." And Scalebearer Yon nods and turns and nods to a couple of the Platinum Knights that are sort of standing by one of the doors off the room. And they both place a fist over their hearts and bow and sort of exit the room. Please bring the body up.
I
Nestle
kneel down and lift the
yeah.
body.
Nestle will explain, in case they give any weird looks at it, that the Slayer's take is needed to transport several bodies. One of our most brilliant members had this created to do so with polite discretion and without any further injury.
He kind of nods at this and is like, "That is innovative." As the body is
So the scale bearer is still there, isn't he? He's just sent some people off to.
That's right, yes. So currently in the room with you Make another perception check for me.
70.
Okay. So in the room with you at the moment, you've currently got Scale Bearer Yon, who's still standing sort of close to the center of the room, near where he and High Bearer Vord were speaking previously. You've also got Maximus standing off to one side. The figure who you've spotted before lurking behind the columns, who you assume, from the glimpses you've seen, you assume to be possibly Luvon, is off to one side. And now that you're sort of looking around again, you notice that Kima has somewhat snuck in and is standing off to one side. Each of the doorways out of the main room also has at least one Platinum Knight standing by as part of their service, just partly on guard duty, partly on the requirement to perform errands for the higher ups.
All right.
So, as the group of you extract the body from Dominic's body bag, there's another sharp intake of breath from High Bearer Vord as he sort of looks the body over and takes in the damaged and effectively ruined plate armor that the half-elf body is wearing, and he sort of gestures Yon over and Yon, Kima, come. And the two of them sort of step over. And there's the silence is oppressive as they all look the body over. My lord. And you say you found this in the ice, in the White Dragon's lair?
Yes.
There's almost like a bit of moisture under High Bearer Vord's eye as he speaks.
Yes, the bodies had clearly been there for a long time.
I see. The shield that you bear, does it carry a name?
Would I know that?
From casting the identify spell on it, you would be aware that it goes by the name of Honor's Last Stand.
Okay. From the studies that I've completed on it, I understand that it goes by the name of Honor's Last Stand.
Then this truly is the body of Fultavar. As I said, many of our Platinum Knights and Paladins of our order carry shields with the symbol, but this particular shield is very unique amongst the order and was thought lost for
I would be
some 800
honored
years.
to learn more of it, learn more about it, if you're willing to share.
I will take that into consideration. There are certain things we can share, and some things we cannot. But I will speak to the scale bearers, and we will discuss that later. But oh my word, Many of us thought that even just the tales of Fultavar were nothing but a myth, going so far back in the history of our order. If this appears to be truly the body of Fultavar, like even Kima is just absolutely just like stunned into absolute silence by the by the return of the body of one of the Order's greatest heroes.
She's just keeping her mouth
Maximus.
shut. She's not sticking with this.
At this point, Maximus sort of walks over and sort of uninvited sort of peers at the shield in Darvin's hands, and I still struggle to believe that this group were capable of destroying such an ancient wight as to potentially be the first. Even if this truly is Fultavar or just a convincing fake.
You are rude,
Hush
aren't you?
now.
Whoa!
Hush now.
Whoa!
The grown-ups are talking.
Ray is going to. She's very angry. And she's going to get in his face and she's going to say, "You always did miss the obvious that was right in front of you." And she is going to take on her celestial form.
Okay.
Okay.
As this happens, Lyrosol, you sort of reach it. You close your eyes for a moment, reach inside, summon that essence of the divine coursing through your blood, and your celestial wings erupt from your back. From the perspective of the rest of you, you see Lyrosol say, like, almost spit this in her father's face, and then suddenly a pair of shining white wings just erupt from her back, and
That is
just
what we call heavenly
the room
shade.
becomes. Oh yeah. The room itself, which was already fairly brightly lit, and becomes that little bit brighter as the light from her wings radiates and reflects off the polished marble.
This is what we also call an snap moment.
So, Lyrosol, roll. Let's see, roll a. Just trying to think what kind of check this would be. Just roll a straight charisma check for me, please.
Oh yeah, baby.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
If there was a
Hot
time,
damn.
Yep, if there ever was a time.
Beautiful.
Yep.
As you do this, there's something of a shift in Lyrosol's countenance as she deploys her wings, as the true sort of celestial nature in her blood is sort of almost awakened due to the proximity to this holy place. And having never seen your wings before, Maximus Dragonclaw takes a step back.
That's it. Back up, bitch.
And he's struck dumb for a moment. And everybody but Lyricel, roll perception for me, please. Lyricel, you are too focused on just basically unleashing heavenly
shit.
charisma on your
I
father.
got you, fam.
Darvin, you're somewhat gobsmacked by Lyricel's divine aura to really sort of notice anything. Tariq, in particular, you notice out of the corner, you sense movement off behind the pillars, and the rest of you all hear it a second after Tariq does. The sound of running feet, of serviceable leather slapping against the marble as a young man rushes out from behind the pillars, and with blonde hair and golden eyes, very similar to Maximus. And as he sort of becomes more clearly visible to you, the resemblance to Lyricel is staggering in the similarities, despite certain differences in their appearance. As Lyricel, just as you unleash your wings and you just stare sort of, at your father, sort of willing every ounce of celestial charisma into him, you suddenly feel an impact from the side as someone you thought long lost to you crashes into you and wraps his now thickly corded muscular arms around you, and you see the familiar shock of blonde hair that keeps dripping into his eyes as your brother Luvon tackles you into the tightest hug you've ever felt. And just as he hugs you, all he keeps whispering to it in your ear, and none of the rest of you can hear this. Lyricel, this is just for you. You hear him just whispering, "I knew it," just over and over, just continuously whispering it.
Ray is stunned for a moment, and some of the glow falters a bit, and then it's just sobbing in his arms.
Just looking to like Darvin and the rest of them, and then back to Lyricel to see if they recognize any of this or know what's going on.
Darvin looks surprised.
Not as surprised as Maximus looks.
Uh-oh.
As he, with that particular charisma check, Bonnie, he's just absolutely, you've effectively just shattered every preconception he had.
Yeah,
For a man who,
Yeah, fuck
for
that
a man
guy.
who is so used to
Fuck that guy.
knowing the path and being a man of conviction, having his daughter, who he'd written off as of no use to the order or to him, in favor of her twin brother, having her show up not only as an accomplished paladin in her own right, but as a member of an order that has returned a hero's body to his own order, but has also demonstrated her divine essence in front of witnesses. He is absolutely struck dumb by this whole situation. And
60 years was worth waiting for this moment.
Finally gets to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
at this point, Luvon sort of steps back and just kind of holds you at arm's length, and you can see that there's tears in his own eyes. and there's a sense of reconnection, as a sense of seeing a sense in what's the word I'm looking for? A sense of seeing something in a mirror that you had forgotten was there to be seen, as and seeing the two of them staring face to face into each other's eyes. It is so obvious that Luvon is quite obviously Lyracel's twin brother, in the structure of their face and the slight pointing of their ears, where Lyracel wears her own unique choice of attire, service to the Moon Weaver, as well as the practicalities of her life amongst the Slayers. Luvon wears the simple white robe and tabard of a member of the Order of the Platinum Dragon. The shock of blonde hair, which you remember from your childhood as always being just slightly too long, continues to be so, and sort of twitches into his eyes, where he involuntarily shakes his head to get it back out. You're struck with a memory for a moment, Lyracel, of your mother always fussing over it and insisting on clipping his fringe to stop it from draping into his eyes. High Bearer Vord. Yep, go ahead.
In between, sort of sobbing, just gonna say, I thought you died, or I thought I couldn't contact you, and I thought you died.
And for a moment, he's just kind of stares at you, and you notice a hardening in his eyes as you say that, and he's like, "Thought I died, but I didn't even. I thought you'd. I figured you must have died. I hadn't heard it from you at all. I just never wrote."
A very dark expression is going to come over her face, and she's just going to look at Maximus, and she's just going to be like, you did this, didn't you? You kept us apart.
Roll an intimidation check with advantage after the whole wings unveiling moment.
This is looking between the two, like, wide-eyed.
Yours, baby!
Three
Oh,
looking
wow.
at Maximus like,
Poetic
Roll the
justice!
dice.
As he, like, Max, as you sort of turn your accusing glare on Maximus, he can only hold your gaze for a moment before he turns away and refuses to look at you. It's like, it was the best. It was best for everyone.
Best for everyone, meaning it was best for you. How dare you? You don't own us. You don't get to make those choices for us. You just... I think you
And
should leave.
at this, Luvon is just kind of staring like, in context, bearing in mind that Lyrosol, you are wearing a headband of intellect at the moment. There's your brother had always struck you when you were younger as being the smarter of the pair of you, the more book learned. And there's a disbelieving look on his face as he kind of sort of turns his own gaze on your father. You kept it from me? It turns back to you. You tried to contact me?
I wrote you all the time, like every day when I was little, and then more, and I never heard anything.
And he turns back to Maximus. You kept my sister from me. You took me away. You made me break the strongest bond of my life as a child. Like at this, he's like with each statement is kind of sort of taking a step towards, and like, you kept us apart. You let me believe she was dead. You how dare you? And with that, he's like, as Nessa, like as you sort of look to the high bearer, like Vord is sort of looking back over his shoulder at Maximus himself. Is like, in light of the interpersonal conflict we are seeing here, I think we can safely assume that Paladin Dragonclaw's objections to the possibility of this truly being the body of Fultivar are on shaky ground at best. Paladin, I believe you should return to your chambers.
Huh. No Father of the Year award for you, I guess.
Yeah, Nesta scrunches her nose
So
at him,
that-
but keeps calm.
So that skill in politics you're talking about, how's that working out for you?
Nessa has to cover her mouth before she snorts.
For a paladin that vows to stand for honor, that doesn't seem very honorable. That's the only thing Nick has said for a very, very long time.
So as he kind of fields each of your criticisms against him, Maximus just kind of sort of meets each of your eye, sort of unflinching.
Tariq flips him off as he does.
Yes, Tariq.
Unquestioningly. Both hands, vigorously.
They know that if Nessa could cast here right now, there would be a Bigby's hand flipping him off. There's a mental Bigby's hand.
But at the High Bearer's words, he places his fist over his heart and bows before leaving the main hall without another word. So,
Jesus.
Fuck this guy.
Yeah. Roll an attack.
Yes,
Nessa-
roll an attack, please.
For the owl?
The owl.
Yes.
Also, Nessa is probably being the most collected and not making a child going to his room joke.
As the owl swoops to poop on Maximus, he notices it and just adroitly steps to the side, displaying a certain amount of Darvin, you in particular, can see the grace that he still moves with, despite his apparent age, even for like what you've gathered is potentially an Asima as well, in the same way that Lyra and her brother are.
I call after him. Well done. Looks like you've got practice avoiding people shitting on you.
Too bad it didn't help him today.
Oh, yes.
And he just leaves without a further word.
I
Luvon,
continue flipping him off until the door closes behind.
Nessa
Like
will
the
look to the
high
high
bearer.
bearer and just say in Elvish, "Our apologies, but that was very uncalled for from him too." Just trying to be the most polite she possibly be in the situation, but is basically holding back her resentment over what the hell he did.
Mm-hmm. So, High Bearer Vord stares after Maximus for a few moments before turning back as you address him. It's like, I appreciate your diplomacy. In the circumstances, it seems beyond assault that you have truly brought us the body of Fultavar. And at this point, one of the Platinum Knights from the gates, from the front stone doors, steps inside and catches his attention and says, "My lord, the dragon body is here." He sort of gestures to him and arranges for it to be brought in. So it's slowly brought in over the next 10-15 minutes, as it is a very big carcass.
Yeah.
But as it is like Vord takes one look at it, and he was already, like, when you first entered, because of the letter that Lyricel had sent in the first place, he was already, 70% convinced of it, because he's just like, why would somebody lie about something like this? And then you presented the body of Fultavar along with the shield, and then effectively discredited your father. And he takes one look at the ancient dragon's body, noting the symbol of Bahamut branded into the scales over the heart, and certain scars on the body. And then he rests his hand on the very snout of the very tip of the dragon's snout. You have truly done the Order of Bahamut a great service this day. You've restored two of our greatest champions to us, so that they might rest in accordance with the honors deserved of them. You, with the holding the shield.
Aye.
The shield itself is one of the last great relics given to the Order by our liege before he left the prime material plane. It is believed one day that, were it to be found again, that it might return to us, but he kind of takes a moment and sort of regards you and your comment previously about the it being warm to the touch where it hadn't been before. When you
Okay.
acquired it, did you feel anything significant about it? I mean, your group, you are of the Slayer's take, correct? All of you?
Correct.
Yes.
I assume then that as a collective, you are familiar with the use of and wielding of magical artifacts.
Indeed.
Did you
This one
feel anything?
seems to have the potential for much greater ability than it currently seems to be displaying.
Okay, roll a persuasion check, Darwin, with advantage.
Oh!
Oh, dude!
Oh!
Well,
Why you keep making the wizards do? Can't all be Dominic.
Well, he kind of he takes a moment and just ends up just smiling at you. He says, if you desire, you may keep the shield.
I will do so with honor.
And one day, the Order hopes that it will make its way back to us here.
Should I fall, I will instruct the rest of the take to return it here.
Now, as I've said, Slayer's Take have done a great service to the Platinum Order this day. You've done well, young paladin. But you are not a paladin of Bahamut. But I can sense his essence in you. It's like, bearing in mind, you've still got your wings out at this point.
Yeah. I wonder why he feels that way.
Call it a hunch.
Hello.
Shaft of light directly over you. It's like,
She's just gonna bow to him. She's still holding on to her brother with one hand. And she's just gonna bow to him. She's gonna say, had things been different, I might have joined your order. But I have my own now, and I respect my blood, but I am Moonweaver.
he kind of nods respectfully. Our Lord Bahamut, your antecedent, he does not bother our Lord how you serve. Just the fact that you walk a path of duty and honor is enough. You do honor to your bloodline, even if your bloodline does not do honor to you. He kind of sort of glances back to where Maximus left, involuntarily.
Cat meme. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Do you think I could stay for a little while? Just. And she looks at Move On. Just to catch up.
And at this, he turns to Luvon. He says, Luvon, in light of new information, you're granted reprieve from your duties for the rest of the day. Go. Catch up. Say, good day, all of you. And thank you again. And
It was our pleasure.
With that, he sort of gestures for the group of you to leave the sanctuary. And Luvon follows you.
Oh yeah. Ray is just probably the happiest that anyone's ever seen her.
And that's saying something.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, Ray is very much, according to some of the stuff she said when she first joined up, very much a leave him happy kind of person. So.
Indeed.
Yep. Good times.
So,
That went better than
you
expected.
stand. Those natural 20s, man. Fucking hell.
Hot damn. So good.
Yes. So
Justice,
good.
justice,
When the dice
justice.
agree with the narrative.
So, you stand outside the main gates of the Platinum Sanctuary in the Dawn City, with newly reunited with your twin brother, who kind of sort of sighs as he stares up at the sky for a moment and just kind of bows his head for a moment and closes his eyes, sort of offering a prayer of thanks to the Platinum Dragon. Right. It's been a long time since I've been granted an afternoon off. Where now?
Good question.
I don't
by the
know
way,
where
hello.
everyone else wanna go.
I am Nessa Malor. Nice to meet you. Your sister is amazing.
Oh yes, these are my friends.
This awkward wave.
She introduced
Awkwardwave.gif.
She introduces them to live on.
As you introduce each of your companions to your brother, Luvon steps forward and embraces each of you at a more powerful version of the bear hug, of the glomping hug that you're familiar with from Ray herself, and highlighting
the family, I see.
Surprise, but okay.
Three
Okay, we're at
hugs
that
him
point.
back
Oh,
just as
all
hard.
I did not know what I expected.
Well, I suppose I should officially introduce myself. I am Luvon. I'm not even sure what to call myself anymore.
You could.
For the longest time, I've still gone by Luvon Dragonclaw. But
I mean, you could take our mother's name like I did, and oh mother, you should write to her too.
yes, when I wanted to for the longest time. When when I first came here, when Father first brought me here to begin my training in the Order, he told me that it would be best to make a quick, clean break of things, so I could focus.
What is your dad's problem?
He's just.
His problem is that he's a massive gaping asshole.
Ray's just got the, yeah, look on her face.
My dad
Like,
tried to ground me, and I'm pretty sure he's still a better father than he is.
Yeah.
Like, Luvon is a little taken aback at the cheerful rawness of your companions. And you can see a certain, like, sort of, like, a dissonance within Luvon, where he's definitely been sort of subject to the influence of their father, but there's sort of like a little seed within him of the same freedom of mind that Lyra has always demonstrated. It's a quaint way of putting it. Father, I always believe Father has done what he thought was best. I've had more than enough reason to doubt over the years when he takes Lyracel's hand and just gives a gentle squeeze. It's like, as we got older, he never told me anything about you, and I just assumed you were. I'd assumed that you were, I don't know, just dead or you didn't want to. I had never heard from you, and he let me believe. He let me believe the worst. And he knew all this time.
Did he at least look after?
I suppose. I mean, the order provides. We have our duty, and I've had my initiation, my phase as an initiate, and then as a supplicant, and then finally as a squire, and then a knight of the order myself. I suppose he took care of me as best as he thought. He and I have gone on journeys within the world, and it is because of him that I have come back from some of them alive, without scars. So, I mean, what does one do with an afternoon off?
Nessa
Well, if
thinks
you'd
for
like
a
to come
moment
to
that
West
she's
Ham-
not the one to answer this question, probably.
He just swings his hand gently that she's holding, and she says, "We get into as much trouble as we possibly can."
Speak for yourself.
Is that what we do? I thought we just did that, kind of pointing back.
I can offer you a discount at a certain house, lady.
Oh my gosh, yes!
Nessa looks at Darwin because she didn't hear about this.
Nick looks
as
at
you say
Darby
that,
at the most. There's eyes just delving into Darvin's soul when he says it. Seriously.
Sounds like you might need a discount too, buddy.
that's generally not something I've participated in.
Well, there's a first time for everything.
Sister? And you guys side glances towards Lyrosel, like looking for backup here. Like, in that kind of...
Like, Darwin, you just met him. Perhaps this is not the best best start.
It's all about marketing, teacher.
You did not even tell me about that, and I have questions, but perhaps for later also.
So,
have you never licked a lamppost in winter?
as you say this,
Does that have to do with anything?
the rest of you kind of see this as potentially like a private in-joke. As you say this, Lyrosel, he sort of meets your eye and sort of a smooth grin, which to the rest of you is almost a mirror of the cheerful grin that Lyrosel usually has. Sort of creases across his face, and he crooks one eyebrow, not as significantly as the Darv brow, but reasonably significant in its own right. It says, "You were there last time I did lick a lamppost in winter, if you recall."
What the hell are they talking about?
Yeah, looking like to Darwin. I thought you would know.
Is this another
remember
joke,
now.
or are you literally talking about licking lampposts in winter?
You really were not.
I'm extremely
2
confused.
hours! 2 hours while you ran back to the house and heated water with Mother.
Oh, so literally
Yeah.
licking
Oh, you're
lampposts.
actually talking about licking a lamp.
And like at this, he's kind of turns to the rest of you. He's like, "What are you talking about?"
Sec.
I don't know anymore.
Fucking
Honestly,
dumb.
I
Sex.
assumed Lyra was making a sex joke.
Well, I think my companions wanted to do some things. So
Yes, we could
Upset.
allow you to have some
Just-
sibling time,
cool.
I suppose. We were going to stop by the take here and visit the others. Well, I was.
I could go along with that.
I suppose I can come along with that. I mean,
yeah,
Of course.
it'll be fun. We'll expand your horizons.
it troubles me when you say that. But as he says that, he then pulls you into a tight hug. Is like, but God, it's good to hear you say it again. And
Discounts all around.
You get a discount. You get a discount.
You can keep your coupon, Darvin.
I arch my eyebrow. Each to their own, I suppose.
Well, shall we?
Yes.
He and Luvon kind of sort of falls into step with the group of you as you start to head down the stairs. So, to the
take.
I believe. All right, so you guys make your way through the city to back to the Quad Roads district and to the Slayer's Take Guild Hall. As you return to the Quad Roads district and find your way back, you find yourself. There's almost a sense of like truly coming home as you approach the wood and stone guild hall, set in the heart of the Quad Roads district, surrounded by the bustle of the oldest city in the world. And as you approach, leaning against the door frame, with a crooked grin on her face, is the familiar tiefling form of Vanessa Sindriel. In effect, all of your formal employer, with Kamal Giori as the representative of Ayun.
Master Vanessa, it's good to see you again.
Welcome back, Nessa, Darwin.
Vanessa, thank you for sending Merton back. Being a hunt master is much more work than I anticipated.
Well, from what I hear, you were doing quite a good job of it.
I appreciate that, but I enjoy hunting more.
Fair enough. Even as a hunt master, you are still allowed to go out. I still do. All of you roll perception checks quickly. Actually, not perception, insight checks.
Oh, that was not meant to be the advantage.
9!
Hold on, my mouse is...
Holy shit!
Oh, Jesus!
So, I know her family tree, I know her, where she was born, how many stars were in the
history
sky.
check.
And her goddamn Ashley Madison password. Okay, Darwin and especially Nick, both of, like, in your case, Darwin, it's your specific familiarity with with not just Vanessa, but also your own personal pastime and now owned business. And Nick, while you've not met Vanessa previously, your own personal experiences, as well as just your sort of overall worldliness, is like, you know, a woman that's recently had her husband returned to her. Darwin and Nick, you notice that the robes she's wearing, while covering everything, are just a little bit looser than you're used to seeing her wear.
I see Merton did his duty.
In her.
And with that, she just kind of she meets your eyes directly, Darvin, and just crooks one eyebrow.
I just chuckle. I'm
Nick
glad.
uneasily just kind of shifts and looks the other way.
Yes, well, I've not seen my husband for some time.
We do have a
I
flying castle now. We should deal with that more often, I suppose.
So he tells me. That honestly sounds like there's some story to be told there.
Oh,
She kind of sort
certainly.
of gestures with her head. Come on in. We'll grab a drink.
This looks exciting.
Hopefully not just one.
So as you enter, there's a sort of familiar yet alien sensation to all of you as you step through, and there's a certain similarity in the layout of the Takes Guild Hall. The common room's got a collection of tables and long bench seats at them, along with a grouping of softer sort of chairs for relaxation off to one side. There's small groups of warriors discussing things, as well as various trophies of creatures mounted on plaques around the walls. There's a bit more of a display of the Takes proclivities as it then was being displayed in West Run, where you guys sort of first started. A few characters catch your eye as you kind of there's small groups hanging around. There's in one corner there's a tall human with short, dirty blonde hair, going quite grey now. He's an older man with a symbol of the Lawbringer around hanging around his neck, sort of animatedly telling some sort of story to a group. In by the fire, sort of resting in one of the comfier chairs, there's a stout dwarf with a thick red beard, braided and separated by ornate rings, with an axe resting on the floor beside his chair. You get the feeling that though he appears to be asleep, the dwarf is, if threatened, would have the axe to your neck in a heartbeat. But there's a certain amount of familiarity. It seems that despite wherever you set up, like the Slayer's Take has a certain amount of consistency in the mentality. As there's a couple of people sitting at a bar in one corner, the bartender so just one of the kind of the universal bartender standing behind the bar, just cleaning a glass and occasionally pouring more tankards of ale for some of the ones having a drink. And Vanessa sort of gestures to the bartender. Top shelf. And indicates for you all to sit down at one of the nearby tables.
We'll sit down.
Whatever. Just Nessa's just looking over everything and just seeing what's similar, what's different, and just kind of taking it all in, and then goes sit down.
Well, this is nice, but ours flies.
So I hear. Tell me, how exactly did you come by a castle that flies?
I was a
Oh.
speaker.
Let me tell you a story about a cloud giant and a wyvern that threw one of our members off the walls.
Do not worry,
Okay.
he was okay.
Good to hear. Good hunters are hard to come by.
Indeed.
So, after some time sharing stories with the spiritual home, with the hunt master of the Slayer's Take, and the spiritual home of the Take, and making contacts with some of your fellow Slayers.
Mhm.
At one point, a human woman sort of stumbles in and sort of brushes the dust off her robe and sort of looks around, and it's interesting as she stumbles in through the front door, and sort of brushes the dust off her robes and out of her dark brown hair, and adjusts her spectacles. You notice that the older human man who's in the back corner has suddenly vanished.
Yes.
Wow.
The more things
So
change,
good.
the more they stay the same.
Wait,
Yep.
that was someone else, right? Didn't he die? Oh man.
No,
Okay.
not that I recall.
Or Aldor became a zombie.
Oh, yeah, he did, didn't he? Well, I guess it got fixed.
Yeah, everything's fine.
He got better.
I got better.
Nessa looks over to the door, sees someone walk in, sees the spectacles, and just immediately is like, my kin! Just has that look of like, yes, this is the person who, in intellectual charge around here.
Oh, hello, other Slayers. You can see that she kind of sort of distractedly looks around, and then apparently not seeing what she was searching for, turns her attention back to. It's like, fellow Slayers, and apparently a fellow mage. Good to, lovely to meet you. I'm Lyra.
Oh, hello, Professor Nessa Malorn. Nice to meet you.
Professor.
Yes, the Alabaster Lyceum. Part-time. It is so good to meet another mage of the original Slayer's Take. Wonderful.
And she's very like. You remember, like, Nessa, you specifically remember being like, it's kind of sort of slipped your notice sort of late as your relationship with Dominic grew, and you sort of spent more time socializing and growing, and particularly after the removal of the curse on you. You notice that she distinctly reminds you of yourself before all of that took place.
Yeah, which is partly why she's feeling a little bit nostalgic there. It's also the fact that this is like the original Take, and yeah, so she's having a bit of a geek out moment. She probably read up about these people, especially hearing the name Lyra.
Exactly. What's everybody's passive perception?
19.
19.
Whoa.
14.
I never remember what that is.
15.
Oh, 16.
Okay, Nick and Tariq. As Lyra is standing there talking to Nessa, you can hear just on the other side of the wall your bench seat is resting near. The slight, very careful sounds of plate armor moving as quietly as possible.
Jeez. And that is where they diverge.
That is why I don't play.
That is where they what?
What?
Where they diverge, I believe she said.
Yeah, what I said. I thought you meant what Nick said.
No.
Oh, yeah. Nessa and Lyra are very different in that sense.
So as you converse with the mage who you've read up a little bit on some of the older established members of the Take.
Yep.
And she's explaining with a certain amount of in a way that is thoroughly familiar to you, Nessa. Just starts geeking out about magic with you,
Yes.
particularly as a member of the faculty at the Lyceum.
Yeah. Nessa
her
is just geeking out
specialization
and trying
in
to figure out how the
transmutation.
heck she lives in Vasselheim dealing with that as a mage.
It's I generally don't find it too much of a hassle. I have Aldor to sort of help me through it sometime, and his
He helps you a lot, does he?
In so many ways.
What? I didn't actually catch what you said.
He helped you a lot, does he?
When he has time. Yeah.
Does he need like a lot of time or just a little bit of time?
Nessa looks
I
very
mean, his
confused
work
again.
his work keeps him busy. I mean, I see him when he has the time, and there's not as much time as I would like, but it's he does his best, and I have my own things I have to take care of. I have hunts to go along with, and I have to go help out with Uncle Randy's shop. He's he's retired now, and a lot of the time I'm the only one there to manage things. And
I know it can be difficult
Sounds
sometimes.
like you need something to help you relieve the stress at the end of the day.
Now Larry's marketing for Darwin.
We could be such good business partners.
I conjure a coupon in an address book.
Nick just shakes his head.
This is just nodding understandingly into how sometimes work gets between relationships.
Yeah, you're right. You are absolutely right.
so I should probably go. I do have I have to reassert my commanding presence of a guild leader with some of the new initiates. I'm supposed to leave for a hunt at some point. At this point, Vanessa chimes in and is like, "Yes, you were supposed to leave an hour ago."
Oh, of course. I will let you get to that.
Yes, Huntmaster. Sorry, and so she sort of starts to fumble with the various things she's carrying, and just I'll go. let Aldor know I'll be gone for a while. And Vanessa is just like completely deadpans. Is like, I'm sure he will be understanding. As Lyra troops out to find the group of initiates she's going on a hunt with. She Vanessa just kind of rolls her eyes. It's just like, ah, dear, that girl is not the most observant.
Oh.
Quite a character.
You think that? You think she's bad? You should see what it's like when she's trying to gain Aldor's attention.
Oh.
Aldor?
Oh, one of the other senior members of the Take Correct?
Oh,
Correct. One of our fighting specialists.
was he the one that was trying to hide earlier?
Trying to
Yep.
hide.
This sounds like a job for matchmaker Lyra.
Oh God.
Oh no.
It went so well with Freddy and Quartz.
Oh no.
Oh, no.
I mean, didn't y'all hear the dude in the plate armor trying to hide on the... No? Okay.
I am.
No, I didn't hear, but that doesn't surprise me. Aldor has somewhat perfected the skill of being ready to adjourn as soon as Lyra turns up.
So they are not engaged?
It's a complicated thing. It's like, in short, Lyra thinks that there's something between them. Aldor really and thoroughly wishes that she would leave him alone.
Oh. That sounds problematic.
Not cool, dude.
Nessa looked
It
forlorn,
is what
like, oh no. She was geeking out with
mean-
the yandere. No. Not quite yandere, but...
It is what it is. I mean, it's on Aldor to explain things to Lyra. If he's not prepared to face up to her himself and clarify the situation, then it's not my place to do it on his behalf.
I suppose not.
That said, I am led to believe that certain members in the past have attempted to clarify things for Lyra, and it does not seem to have worked.
Nessa looks embarrassed for both of them at the moment.
Nessa kind of just shrugs it off and takes a swig of her drink. So, what brings your mob to town? Aside from, presumably, if I know some of your members, the opportunity to show off your flying castle.
It was mostly the flying castle thing.
I have little doubt.
I also found a giant silver dragon and apparently a hero of the Temple of Bahamut that we came to return.
We got to massive dick that he was a massive dick to his face, too. So that was...
That was, in fact, rather satisfying, yes.
Fair enough. I've done my share of it over the years. It's definitely something entertaining when you get to call out somebody like that on the spot.
Agreed.
So you returned some heroes' bodies to the Platinum Sanctuary. I'll bet they were grateful.
Seemed that way.
The high barrier was
I feel
quite
like they
nice.
knew more about the shield than they let on.
All of them but one. But we over here took care of
Yeah, he was the aforementioned dick.
At this, Luvon chimes in. Yes, father is a hard man to tolerate.
it. That is
A
also
very
a
nice
dick.
way of saying that he's a massive dick.
Nessa just rubs on the back of her head.
Members of the Take, you have successfully delivered the bodies of Pandras, the Silver Champion, and Fultavar, one of the ancient heroes of the Platinum Sanctuary. Lyracel has re-established her connection with her twin brother, as well as largely discredited her father in the eyes of the Platinum Sanctuary.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
What would
Amen.
the rest of your time in Vasselheim is yours?
I will
What?
wander nearby the Platinum Sanctuary again occasionally and see if the shield reacts anymore.
Roll. All right. So over the course of the afternoon, you wander back there, and so do you just like walk up to the building and basically like, hold the shield out? It's like, do things.
Yeah, I mean, anything that I can think of that's not going to be offensive to try just out of an intellectual curiosity, see if there's any
Alright,
further reaction.
I roll a religion check. Jeez, Darwin, you're just so you know, there
You're gonna
are
have to
numbers.
You're gonna have to start yelling at trees, Darvin.
Yeah, there's numbers between.
Oof.
There's numbers between 2 and 18. Just putting that out there.
It's only the important rolls that I'm rolling poorly.
I mean, as you approach the sanctuary, you feel the slight increase in temperature to it, and there's a slight vibration. You can't quite seem to figure out like if there's more to the reaction, or if it's just a coincidental reaction of it being a highly charged piece relating to the Platinum Dragon, and you being at the center of the religion for the entire world.
Okay. Well, after a while, I'll just sit on the steps and polish it for a bit, and then head on my way.
Okay. It's interesting actually that as you try to polish it, there's not actually that much on it to polish. It honestly seems like regardless of what you do with it, it remains pristine and shining bright.
Well, this is quite a nice shield.
So, we'll say just as you go to leave the sanctuary, just roll an insight check for me, Darwin.
How did you get
Well, he
that?
didn't get a 2 or an 18, so.
I'm not going to roll anything anymore.
Oh no.
As you stand up and you sling the shield onto your back, sort of Captain America style, you sort of glance up at the fortress, and your eyes alight on the phrases in Draconic that are written vertically and regularly spaced along the walls, like words like duty, honor, and protection. You know, platitudes to that effect. You get the general feeling about the shield that if there's more to be awakened in it, that your best approach may be something to do with the tenets of the Platinum Dragon.
Fair enough.
Okay, is there anything else the rest of you would like to do in Vasselheim?
Nick would like to go pray at the Temple of Serenray.
Sure. As you... Let me pull the section of the...
I'm not used to having temples. There was no temples to it. Now the temple all over the empire.
The Temple of Sarenrae is located in the Braving Grounds district. As you enter it, there's a wave of peace kind of sort of washes over you as you sort of enter through. It's in the distance you can hear, the sounds of, sort of almost Gregorian-like chanting, it's like,
P.A.S. Domine.
kind of.
Requiem.
Just without the belting of one's face afterwards. It's just like overall the general peaceful and there's a few people sort of on pews praying or just relaxing in the peacefulness that the Church of the Everlight tends to bring.
Yay.
Is there I'm assuming there's some sort of like altar or statue of the Everlight that I can just sit and meditate or just...
There is there is an altar sort of towards the end of the room, just with some basic tools for the various prayer rituals of Serenray, and a large icon of the Everlight hung up on the wall behind it. If you would like to, you can take some time to sort of commune with your patron and attempt to sort of, strengthen your connection to her.
That's exactly what. After keeping everything in that he wanted to, while Ray was tearing her father a new one, he's just going to sit and just bathe in the calmness and the relaxed nature that the Everlight brings him, so he can have like a mind reset and not be so uptight. He doesn't like that feeling.
Sure. So you sort of take your place in a place in front of the altar. You kneel down and start to go through the familiar rituals of prayer and meditation, which the familiar rituals bring you a sense of peace and balance that sometimes gets a little disrupted with the somewhat outgoing nature of some of the other members of the take.
Somewhat.
So you close your eyes as you sort of light a final stick of incense. Like it's a smell you're quite familiar with, having spent plenty of time in and out of temples of Serenray over the years while you were training and learning the ways. And it's a smell that's always brought you a sense of peace. And you just close your eyes and you start to meditate. And as you're there for 10, 15 minutes, and while Nick is meditating, we will briefly cut over to Nessa, who presumably is standing outside the vault of the Cobalt Reserve, lightly foaming at the mouth at the potential of the accumulated knowledge within.
Cobalt Vault, yes! Hype! She's got her paperwork already from the Cobalt Reserve in case they want that too, just to show that she's not going to hurt anything.
As you approach, some of the monks of the Cobalt Soul are wandering, milling. Not really milling. They're just going about their daily tasks, and sort of an older dwarven monk near as you enter the doors, sort of speaks to you and quickly reviews your papers and grants you entry. Satisfied both in your connection to the West Run Reserve, as well as the to the Alabaster Lyceum. Mm-hmm. Is there anything in particular you would like to research, or are you just nerding out?
She's basically nerding out and going for anything she can, but also, I guess, technically, she would also kind of want to look into some stuff about liches after what happened. Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
All right. Roll an investigation check.
Yes!
27. All right. A lot of what you're able to find out about liches over the course of a good couple of hours is a lot of what's largely already known about liches in general, particularly through your association with Dominic. Mm-hmm. And it's interestingly enough not in a textbook on lichdom or magical theory at all that you find something that may potentially be a lead. And you find a reference in an old history book of a mage from the Age of Arcanum known as Karnak the Pharaoh.
Mm-hmm.
Who ruled over a small fiefdom of his own in the desert regions near Marquette. Mm-hmm. Sorry, not the desert regions of Marquette, not so north of Uncarel.
Yeah. What would be Marquette now? Okay.
But it doesn't go into a lot of detail. Other than that, his empire was thought lost due to likely, conflict with other mages, as was so common during the Age of Arcanum.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'll do is sort of the specifics of what you learn, which is vague at best. He was very much known as something of a wizard who thought himself a god or worthy of being a god, and tended to behave as such in ruling over his little kingdom.
Yeah, that's
but
making more sense now.
But other than that, has not been seen for centuries.
Okay.
Since, but quite literally since before the calamity.
Yeah. Besides that, she might just refresh up on her abjuration techniques, even though she doesn't want to take his fucking advice, but okay.
All right. While you're doing that, we will quickly pan back to Nick, and I'll come back to you in a sec, Tariq. Nick, as you're sort of starting to find a real sense of calm and in the peace of the Temple of the Everlight, it's been about half an hour of meditation for you.
Mhm.
And you hear a heavy tread from one of the side rooms, and then a familiar voice goes, "Oh, it's been some time since I've seen you around, young Nick." And as you open your eyes, you see the familiar, short-statured form and heavily armored form of your mentor, Pike Trickfoot.
Ah, Pike! I get up and I just pick her up in a big hug, like Grog.
It's good to see you again, Nick. So you can put me down now.
Oh, sorry.
It's all right. What are you doing in Vasselheim? It's just.
Did you see that big old dragon? That was drugged through the city.
Yes.
We delivered it. Well, the Slayers take.
Are you?
Yes,
Are you still? You're with the Slayer's Take now. I thought you were with the. I thought you were with the Darrington Brigade.
I had done so before. And then came and studied with you, and then went to found the Slayer's Take afterwards. And I show her the brand on my shoulder.
Fair enough.
I didn't.
Sure.
I didn't. I didn't slay, or we didn't slay this dragon. I wasn't on that particular hunt, but I thought some level-headedness, and he looks out the door, would might have been helpful. But the group that I'm with is quite the group of characters. I'm sure you know that. I mean, Fox Machina and all.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
But anyway, I had just come by to kind of I had just come by to kind of reset my head and just be calm. before I join my companions out there.
Fair enough. Well, she kind of glances at the altar and up at the symbol of the Everlight. Well, the lady will provide as needed. And she claps you on the back as she sort of goes to return to her office. And like, it's been some time since you've seen Pike, and you'd forgotten at just how hard a slap on the back from her is, given her magically enhanced strength. Just like, bang! Oh,
Ow, ow, ow. Oh, okay. Bye. Ow. Oh, dude.
Darwin, roll a performance check.
Jesus,
You got
darn it.
Also, where is this place of yours? Because, like...
Watch, this is the roll he's gonna... No, he's not.
Oh dear.
You know how sometimes you see people who are like trying to get you to sign their petition, who are just like standing on a street corner passing out brochures, and how like if you watch them for a while, you see them hand something to somebody, and 3 steps past them, they just immediately throw it straight in the bin.
Here, you throw this away.
It's a bit like that.
Where is this place of yours? Is it not like in Westruun or something like that? Because like they don't have teleportation. They hate arcane magic here.
Sure, but people travel. They
Yeah. You want to get
Western.
some awesome. You want to get some awesome sex across the continent? Go here. Entirely different
Western will be the
continent.
new Vegas.
God, I wish Nick would have saw that. He would laugh. Alright. Nick leaves after saying a farewell to Sarah and Ray. He exits the temple and goes to find his companion.
All right. Tariq, you toddle along to the Temple of the Changebringer.
Mhm.
Put up information.
All right. So I have a couple of things I wanted to ask the people here about before we left town. Thing number 1. There's this fellow named Maximilian Dragonclaw, I believe, who's over at the Temple of the Platinum Dragon.
The
He's been
priest you've been
being
speaking to nods. Yes. Mm-hmm.
He's been being a terrible person and a terrible father. I did my best to humble him a little. But if you all could keep an eye on him, see if we could find any more ways to do so. No harm, of course. But just perhaps a little bit of trickery to make him... to give him some perspective. You know what I mean?
I'm the young priest the young cleric you're speaking to just kind of flashes a like a mischievous grin and says, "I'm sure we can come up with something."
Tree gives him one right back. Good.
We'll keep an eye on him.
Thank you.
Avandra be with you.
You too. I had one other question for you, though.
Yes, of course.
Have you seen an old elven woman recently? Ranger like myself, old, gray hair, starting to actually show wrinkles for an elf. She might have come through here.
Doesn't ring a bell, I'm sorry, but We can keep an eye out for
No,
as
that's
well if you need be.
okay.
Who is she?
She's an old teacher. I just wanted to see if she was okay. I haven't heard from her in a while.
Bear with me for a sec. Fair enough. Do you know a name? Like a name we could identify her by and then contact you with?
Oh, you don't need to do that. I'm just. She'd be embarrassed if she knew I was checking up on her.
All right. Well, I
Um,
don't think I know her personally, but I can definitely look in. I can definitely ask around.
sure. I'm going to take a moment and pray, if you don't mind.
Sure. And he wanders out of the sort of the main room, and a temple of Avandra is a little unorthodox in its approach. Avandra, being more like being very heavily linked to freedom, trade, and travel, she tends to attract a certain mentality amongst her clerics of lightheartedness and relaxation in the face of change. And so the majority of the rituals, in quotation marks, taking place within
Why do you
the
think
temple.
Tariq prays by wandering into the forest and yelling at trees most of the
Well, in this particular case, the rituals taking place is there are several groups of acolytes and with clerics watching over them playing games of Avandra's favor, which is which as a game has made its way from Ankarel, and definitely sort of taken root amongst the followers of the Changebringer here in Vasselheim.
Right.
So Tariq, roll a religion check, please.
All
Here we
right.
go.
Let's see if proficiency in religion actually pays.
Holy shit!
Oh my god. Not
As
bad.
Well, at least somebody's rolling well.
you said, you join into one of the smaller games, not strictly to gamble and win, just more to just connect with the essence of mutability and probability that Evandra embodies. And you spend sort of a good hour or so rolling dice and flipping coins with the other followers. And as you do, you definitely feel a bit of a glow to yourself and a bit of warmth from the necklace around your neck.
Good stuff. Trey kind of just takes comfort in that and smiles as he continues to play for a little while.
Mm-hmm. All right.
That and the news that she is nowhere near here, apparently.
Out of character, I have no idea who you're talking about.
Oh, okay. I'll DM it to you.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
He was his friend with benefits.
No, they were never friends.
Well,
if the
But there were benefits.
benefit you're speaking of is attempt to murder, then as sort of the day winds down, each of you has your own things that you do. Lyra, so you spend the majority of the afternoon with your twin brother, just reconnecting with him and swapping stories of your own adventures over the years that you haven't seen each other. And with a twinge of some things never changing for you, you do go and decide to get into a little bit of trouble, primarily at your instigation, and he has to try and smooth over over a couple of situations with you.
Good times.
no dying.
And as the day wears on, the sun is starting to go down, and the evening life of Vasselheim is beginning to settle in. So, with the sun approaching the horizon, what would you like to do?
Darvin would be ready to call it a day.
Same.
Yep.
So,
All right. As you make your way as a group to the outskirts of the city, you stop in and say goodbye to Vanessa at the take, and actually catch up with Merton as he is saying goodbye as well, and making ready to return to the castle.
I tell Vanessa and Merton if they ever need a day or two off to let me know.
Vanessa sort of grins as you say that and says, I may just take you up on that. As the group of you go to leave the city, Lyra, so Luvon pulls you into a tight embrace and says, well, guess I'll be seeing you for now, but make sure you're right.
I will. And you too. And take care of yourself.
I definitely will. Goodbye, Ray.
Goodbye, Luvon.
He turns and sort of, with the formal bow that you saw the other Platinum Knights performing, where he places a hand over his heart and bows, he turns and sort of heads back off into the crowd, heading back towards the Platinum Sanctuary. As the rest of you start to turn to make your way out of the city from the take, everybody just roll a perception check for me, please.
Oh,
Hey!
Oh, Nick!
Oh no. Not bad.
a natural 1 is still a 10.
High wisdom. Okay, so Darvin and slightly afterwards, Nessa, you, like, as you sort of, Darvin, as you kind of sort of gaze around Vasselheim, your eye catches on the airship platform set off to one side of the city, and an idea occurs to you. It's like, what they need if they're going to get to your establishment is transportation.
Huh.
Hmm.
And as you kind of sort of pondering that, your gaze sort of drifts back down to street level, and you see at the corner of the Slayer's Take building, there's a small laneway between it and the next building. And as your eyes are light on it, Nessa, you also spot this. Your eyes catch on the reflected glint of light on metal, and you see a small, geometrically shaped creature with just a single eye, just on a stalk, just staring. It doesn't register that you've noticed it. It just watches.
What are all these robot things about?
What is a robot? You mean a construct?
Yeah, that.
What are y'all even talking about?
I
Yeah, what
pointed
are you
out.
talking about?
Yeah, what is this construct? Because we've seen plenty of from, like, Primus recently. A lot of golems and things.
You, Nessa and Darwin, both of you make Arcana checks.
That I can do.
Fucking hell! I'm gonna use a luck
Oh,
point.
wow.
I have luck.
Wow!
Okay, Darwin's got you.
I don't care. I want to know. I got luck points to use. I'm using them.
Fair enough. That was just kind of embarrassing, Flint.
I know, which is why I
It's
fixed
like-
that shit.
That's like, yeah, I mean, like, it's like it's as bad as when Dominic rolls one. It's just like, this is kind of your thing.
Exactly.
So, both of you kind of, after a moment, just staring at it. It's like it doesn't move or respond in any way to your gaze. It just stands and watches. You both recognize this as a Modron.
Oh, one of those?
Yes.
Mm.
So,
Why are we keep continuing to see these things wherever we go?
They did mention... that person mentioned... What was that called? Shit. Not a parade. It was like a...
The Great Modron March.
March, yeah. I really hope that is
Thank you,
not the case.
disembodied voice.
Yes, thank you.
No problem.
Thank you, my Nessa's inner Nessa's mind palace voice.
so, you've
Nessa's gonna write that down.
yeah.
Hey y'all, how are we gonna get back home?
Teleportation circle.
Teleport. Well, we don't have a teleportation circle, but we do have a helmet of teleportation.
We have a teleport. Well, we also have a teleportation circle at the take, and I have chalk. But I suppose your helm is the better way in this particular instance. It's a little bit faster.
Poof, we're back at the take.
Wait, there's a griffin down there!
Well,
Fine, the
You better go
griffin will
back
find
again.
its way back. It's like a homing griffin.
As you as you guys return to the take, like later in the evening when Merton returns, he calls the group of you to his office and says, "Next time you want to teleport back to the take, you want to come and grab me first."
Did you bring the griffin with you, boss?
Yes.
That was for
We
you,
left it for
obviously.
It seemed like you were having so much fun. We wanted to leave you there at the time.
Yeah.
Yes, you seemed very
Fun.
busy.
Wow, chicken wow.
Merton just kind of rolls his eyes at you and says, "Get out."
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you have returned to the take, and with that, we might call most of that it.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
Okay.
Good session.
Yay, we
Yeah.
survived!
Yeah.
Well, it's fun to focus more on role playing instead of just
Yeah.
stabby stab all the time.
We stabbed
Agreed.
we stabbed a guy for some emotional damage.
You are not wrong.
Yeah, the natural 20s were
On point.
Yeah, that's exactly when you needed them too. It's just like,
Oh,
you were an asshole. It's like, you are not a worthy paladin at all. Boom, angel wings. Fuck.
That was a lot
Yeah,
of fuck
no,
you
it was
damage.
good. Yep.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
And he will
So
continue to
beautiful.
take fuck you damage for a while yet.
Changebringer level fuck you damage.
Just
I feel no remorse.
just endlessly getting flaming packages of poop delivered to the sanctuary for him. Just another one turns up on the doorstep. The guards are just like, fetch paladin dragon claw.
These flaming bags of poop are left by Owls.
Sacred flaming bags of poop.
That is the radiant poo.
This sacred fuck you brought to you by Avandra.
That is the best D&D Beyond sponsorship.
Good job, Will.
Times, everyone. Yay.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Will.
Yeah, it was pleasant running a game that didn't have that pressure of the combat stuff in it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Just, yeah, I needed a chance to run something where I could just do the little bits and pieces of like the minutia stuff because I'm
Alright,
Cool.
that's fair.
yeah happy David. I managed to include a modron.
Modron.